Good evening, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to episode 4 of the Ruffians, I believe. We are joined by an amazing cast and crew this week, and as every week. And we're very excited to take ourselves off to the masquerade ball later this evening. I hope, I'm assuming, I gotta assume that they get there at some point. As always, there's just a few people I gotta thank at the top of this. Of course, Role4Damage, our incredible channel who is hosting us all, who brought us all here together to do this. I want to thank Veggie and Nova so much for all the incredible hard work that they've been doing behind the scenes and running this and making an amazing little community here for everybody to get together in. Next up, I have to thank Brepai, our artist, our character artist. You can see a picture of Lydia there. She does amazing work. You can see a link down below to her stuff. Just knockout stellar, all the stuff. I also want to shout out our sister channel, Nerds of the West, which is a Western Australian board game channel, as Role4Damage is a Australian Twitch channel. And but Nerds of the West, they play board games and all sorts of other cool stuff on their channel. And we trade players back and forth with them from the other campaigns a bunch. So by all means, please check them out. And of course, check out Wonders and Blunders, the wonderful Canadian podcast hosted by Mike Ferdy, who will be introducing himself in a moment, also featuring myself and a bunch of other wonderful Canadians. So, without further ado, I think that's a good point to introduce the players. So actually, let's pass it right over to Mike to start off. Mike, tell us about you. Tell us about Sloop.
Cool. I'm Mike Fardy. I am the DM for Wonders and Blunders, which is a really nice Canadian podcast featuring really nice Canadian players, as previously stated. We're like a cute horror comedy podcast. D&D5e. Check us out at wonderandblunder.com and on Twitter at Wonder and Blunder. And in this game, I play Sloop Brinescale, who is a kobold pirate rogue. He's got a hook for a tail, and he's got a penchant for danger. And I don't know if he can dance, but we're going to find out.
Cannot wait to find out. Next up, we have Era being played by Shelby of Wystle While You Work.
Hi, I'm Shelby. I'm from the channel Wystle While You Work, where I tell stories of my D&D antics and draw whatever comes to mind that's D&D related. You can find me over on YouTube at Wystle While You Work, spelled W-Y-S-T-L-E, or on Twitter at WhistleWis, or on Instagram at Wystle While You Work. And I am playing Era Blackwood, the somewhat bitchy, kind of callous elven necromancer, who is really not looking forward to this party in the slightest.
I cannot wait to see how it goes. Quick shout out here to Dead Aussie Gamer, who just dropped us a raid on the channel. He had a guest DM slot here on the channel the other week and is a great person. So please, by all means, check him out. But quickly back to the players. Next up on the other side, we have Lydia being played by Shannon of the Paradise Crew.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shannon. You can find me on everything at sroby25. You can find me as a player over on our Paradise channel. I play Scarlet, our rogue, and things got real intense the last session, and they're going to be real tense this coming up session. So really looking forward to that. We'll be live on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I am bringing Lydia Ray to life. She is our monk, and she's very glad that Django didn't dress her as a flamingo last session.
Also very glad. That leads us perfectly into Django being played by Sean.
Yes, my name is Sean O'Donovan. I am the DM over at ParadiceRPG. You can find me on all social media at Odo_Sean, ODO_SEAN. And yes, I am playing Django Weatherby Teague, and he was born to go to a masquerade. So this should be an interesting session tonight. But yeah, you can check Paradise out on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For our flagship show, Advantage in Paradise. It's going to be a big battle on Monday, so come check it out. We also have the Tim and Shannon Power Hour on Sunday, where Tim and Shannon, our lovely Lydia Ray here, talk to members of the community and recap our episodes. And if you like cartography, lore, and maybe a little video games, come check me out on our channel on Wednesdays nights for what I have now dubbed Relaxing in Paradise is the name of the show. Time for me, the DM, to get away from my players.
Little well-needed R&R.
I love that.
Lastly, I just want to shout out a couple of other games that we've got going on the Roll4Damage channel. We have Empires of Darkness on Mondays. The Internship, normally on Thursdays, just had its finale, I guess, yesterday, which from my understanding went very, very well. I'm sure the producer Veg will pop in at the end of the show and tell us a little bit about it. And then we also have about 12 hours, if you can rewind in time, we have Heart of the Plains here on the channel. There's going to be a bunch of new stuff coming up soon, as of course the internship is just finished and other things will be flowing in. So by all means, follow the channel and stay tuned to what we're bringing you. So that brings us to what our ruffians have been up to. Now, who do I want to give a little recap of last session? Who did I make do it last week?
That was me.
Shelby.
That was you. That was you. Right. That was you because Shannon really didn't want to do last week.
Yeah.
So that only seems fair that she does it. So Shannon, tell everybody what we did, the last session.
All right. So last session, guys, where did we start last session?
I believe we
Leave it.
started with Sloop and Era.
Yes, in the church, checking out seeing if they could find anything suspicious about the church. And Era was trying to distract the priest that was there while Sloop did his rogue thing and snuck into the back and proceeded to completely destroy the priest's office area, left no paper unturned, ripped the bed sheets, which he coincidentally used as an improvised net when the priest heard him because he was making quite a racket, and run back there, Sloop threw the bed sheets onto him and darted out the door. And on their way out, Era and Sloop noticed in the fountain, I think, on the way out, the water was bubbling, which I think we just decided was a god being a little angry at the commotion that was happening, or that's what we're speculating anyway. And then while all that was happening, Django and I went shopping to try and glean what information we could about Pipper Aaron.
Pipper Aaron.
Pipper. Okay, all right, it is Pipper. Okay, good. Yeah. Pipper Aaron. Apparently, it is not common knowledge. It has not been leaked yet. Nobody has really seemed to be concerned about it, as we found out in the jeweler shop as we were shopping for a big fancy ring. And so we talked to the jeweler there, found out that, and then we went out and we went to a tailor shop where we bought lovely outfits for the masquerade ball. And after we did that,
Didn't find any clues.
No, we completely forgot to do any of that. We were just there for shopping, and we bought some really great outfits, and Django and Sloop are going to match, and it's going to be wonderful. And then after that, we took a stroll up to the manor where the masquerade ball was going to be happening to see what we could see. Basically, what we found out is that it's big, it's well guarded, and it's well fortified. So there was no real way to sneak in or anything like that. And Django tried to sweet talk the guards that were out there, and they were not having it. So we turned around and we went back, and I believe that is when we met our friends back at the Beggar and Cask. And then we decided what our next move was going to be, which we decided that we were going to forge the signature of the priest, I believe it was, because you took the book, you took his book on the way out. So Django, in all his fancy handwriting, forged, I believe you got a nat 20 when you did it, forged the signature of the priest onto a press release that we had found inside the warehouse that we blew up a couple episodes ago. And yeah, so I think that's where we left off, and we're getting ready to go on our midnight errands.
Yeah, Era had a brief conversation with Captain Sybil, the
Yes, I'm sorry.
spooky
I
magic
knew I was
pirate
forgetting
captain
something.
who's been hanging out in the tavern. And you guys passed along the knowledge to Sybil. You passed along the book pertaining the orcish birthing rituals, and I believe informed her that where this horde of orc statues was underneath the temple.
I'm not sure if we told her exactly where they were. We told them that the book came from the priest.
Yeah.
We didn't tell her how we got it, but we told her that where it came from.
Didn't tell her
I
that
also-
we found the orcs.
You didn't tell her that you found the orcs.
No, we just gave her the book and
No.
said that he was dabbling in the rituals.
Right. And Django, just to clarify for me, the letter that you forged, because this is what we'll be opening on the top, did you sign it as the father's name? Or were you just forging his handwriting and passing it along? Because it was to deliver the press release to the local
I remember
local
being in
press.
his handwriting, but I don't.
I know that
remember if
whatever
he
I
put his
did was
name.
priest's writing itself, because I
Yes.
copied the writing and I was using my special quill to do that. Yes, it was, because it was a tip from the priest.
Okay.
I believe was the what it ended up being about the explosion, and I think.
That's right.
Ooh, yes. I'm forgetting a key detail, I think.
I did copy down the orc ritual.
Yes.
That is something that happened.
Yes, I believe the tip was. Dude, I'm forgetting.
I thought it was just informing them about the press release, and you were trying to
Yes.
make it look as if the father had that information.
Yes, we did not sign it by the father. The idea was that we wanted to, fill it with enough things to make it seem like someone who investigated further would find out that it was the father's, but that it was the idea was to tip off the press about Pipper Aaron and did we decide to put the gunpowder in there that we found?
I think it was just Pipper.
It was just Pipper.
I think it was just Pipper because we had the drafted press release we were putting with it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, because the
would,
idea
of
was we
course-
wanted the rumors to circulate before the party. But we wanted it to be delivered in time, so people still went to the party and it wasn't canceled. It's all coming back to me now.
Okay.
We want some good gossip going on at the masquerade.
And also
Of
we
course,
want people
of
to be
course.
afraid.
So when we last left off, the group of you had just gone up to your room at the tavern, and we were going to kind of skip ahead to midnight when you were all planning to, or some of you were planning to leave to drop off that letter and go investigate the orcs, the orcish room full of orc statues. So who precisely wished to leave the tavern? All of you or just some?
I believe it was all of us, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was all of us.
All right. So yeah, you're able to, midnight comes, you leave the room, you look out, the tavern has still got a few bodies left in it. It is a Thursday night, I believe. So it's not too wild and crazy, but it's only around midnight, so there are still a few bodies around. You're able to make your way out of the tavern more or less unseen, and then work your way towards the market trade district. There, in looking for the local press, you're kind of not immediately sure who to go to, but you have walked past now a couple of times that there is a port office on the south side of the market, which you would deign as a reasonable place to spread information across the docks.
Oh, do we just want to slip it under the door? Or
I believe that was the plan, yes.
I suppose so. They'll find it in the morning and hopefully print it by the afternoon.
And none will be the wiser.
Hey,
Yeah,
this
there's
is
like a
our-
little mail slot in the door and everything that you can see is there's a safe little drop-off point there. Official port business and the like. So
Are there a lot of people around, or is it just kind of dead this time of night?
there are, because you're in the trading market area, like it is quite dead. There are kind of a few bodies that you can see working their way, say, from the bar back to their homes. But it's pretty quiet, and if you want to wait until kind of there's no one to be there, it would only take a minute or two.
Yeah, I'd say we'd want to wait until maybe have Sloop with his stealthiness be the one to slip it into the perhaps Sloop should be the one to slip it into the mailbox, stealth up so no one sees us dropping off the tip.
Just what I was thinking.
Oh yes, I had to pretend to be a male person once. It was I was undercover.
I would trust no one else with my press or my packages than you, Sloop.
I have to say, Django, that was a neat little trick.
Oh, well, I'm full of them. And he almost says love, but he's, mate, I'm full of them, mate. Just wait until we're in this masquerade. I'm sure we'll be able to do quite a bit there.
You haven't seen him at a party yet. You're in for a treat.
Is it a treat, or is it something that's going to be embarrassing?
Yes.
It may be both.
All right. Well, Sloop, counting on you.
Right away.
Sloop, I'll get you to roll a stealth check.
Okie dokie. 24.
Yeah. You're able to get to the door without any issue. You wait for kind of a passing pair of drunks to go by, and then you just walk up, crack open the mailbox, slip it in, and you're gone back into the market stalls before anyone notices.
So I swing back up around behind the party and step back in right where I was before, and just say,
That one went very smoothly. No one.
Have you done it already?
Yes, it's done.
Wow, that was quick.
Well, I guess when you're not destroying everything in your path, you can be pretty quiet, can't you?
I got that out of my system. Thank you very much.
I'm glad you did. Don't get me wrong. I don't blame you for being angry, but that could have gone very, very wrong. Anyways, so we're going to the temple next.
Yes.
I believe that was the second on our list.
Speaking of things going very, very wrong. Follow me.
Yeah, so Sloop,
right.
you're easily able to lead them back to the sewer grate that you came from. This whole night of stumbling through the sewers and finding these statues before is kind of seared in your mind. A bit of a strange, traumatic experience, but you have no trouble winding your way back through.
Hold your breath. It's not great down here.
and
gonna
I'll
pull my-
slip down below and start leading everyone down.
I pull my collar up over my nose and jump down with them.
And just make a survival check, just to make sure that you don't get lost before you find your way back there.
Ooh.
All of us are just Sloop.
No, just Sloop. Just Sloop. He's leading you there. Yeah, you're not. You have no trouble. You make a couple of turns. You've kind of memorized where you are in relation to the temple, and within no time, you're standing outside of this set of iron bars that you slipped through before.
So Sloop is kind of pretty confidently leading the way, and then as he gets closer to the bars, kind of slows down, and you can see him like wringing his hands a little bit as he goes up close, and he puts his hands on the bar and kind of taps them and be like,
This is it. This is the place.
You all right?
Yes. It's just that behind these bars is a room full of orcs.
Would you rather wait out here?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I would.
Yeah, look out. Make sure nobody comes this way.
Righto.
Well, is it like a gate we can open, or is it bars that we're gonna have to try and slip
It is a
through?
set of bars that were kind of so wide that Sloop had no problem slipping through them, but they are a locked gate naturally. So I will require some kind of sleight of hand check to open them with these tools.
Is there an actual lock?
Yes.
I have knock prepared, so I'll just cast that.
Can you read me the description for knock?
Choose an object that you can see within range. This object can be a door, a box, chest, or a set of manacles or a padlock. Another object containing a mundane or magical means that prevent access. A target that is being held shut by a mundane lock or that is stuck or barred becomes unlocked, unstuck, or unbarred. If the object has multiple locks, only one of them becomes unlocked. If you choose a target that is held shut with an arcane lock, that spell is suppressed for 10 minutes, during which the time the target can be opened and shut normally. When you cast the spell, a loud knock audible from as far away as 300 feet emanates from the targeted object. So there's the problem with noise.
Yes, I don't think we want the noise.
Oh, you having trouble? Hold on, I get that for you.
All right.
Thank you, Sloop.
And I'll try and thieves' tools that baby open.
I
Sure.
will creep up behind Sloop and just whisper to him, this is the moment, mate. This will determine success or failure tonight. If you fail, no problem. We go back, have a drink, go to sleep. It's all fine. Go to a party tomorrow. You succeed. Just as great. We make our way through. You stay here. We discover some secrets. We put an end to these rituals. And I will give him bardic inspiration for this role.
Cool. So Sloop taps his tail and the thieves' tools extend out of it again. And you can see his hands shaking as he's trying to get the door open, and your words maybe calm him. I'm going to use that right away.
Yeah, it adds 1d8 to your roll.
1d8. So that's a 19 total.
Yeah, your lockpicks kind of go in. They're kind of shaky at first, nicking against the edges of the lock. But you steel yourself with Django's words and deftly pop the lock open as the bars freak out. And even this slight noise you hear within the tunnels of the sewers echoes out fairly loudly.
Yes, you're right. No, nothing to lose. After you.
I'll walk in first.
Okay. Era, you enter this dark room. I don't know. Do any of you have a light on you? I guess that's a question I should have asked entering the sewers.
That is a good question.
Do elves still have dark vision? Or
Elves do not have dark vision in this world.
Ah, man. Oh.
They live in the deserts. So
Yeah. I do have a lamp.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Django pulls out a lamp and lights up the oil a little. With his,
The one time I don't have light in my cantrips.
It's a good spell. So Era, as you walk in, the shadows kind of flicker behind you from Django's lamp. And you see, alarmingly at first, it looks like you enter this room and breach into it, and there are just about 24 people staring back at you. And you pause as Django and Lydia come in, and the light fills the room, and you can see it glinting off this obsidian skin of these statues that are all frozen. Now that you're in here with a bit of light, you're able to see that these statues they're very square-jawed. They almost look unfamiliar to the orcs that you've seen before, but their clothing, all the details of their armor and their garb are it's just incredible. The craftsmanship on these statues, you can tell, is just awe-inspiring statuary.
That's unusual.
I'm going to take out my book and a little piece of charcoal to write with and just start writing down a few things that are immediately jumping out to me, as I am interested in this whole ritual and the creation aspect.
Yeah.
So
Sloop, have you entered the room, or are you staying in the sewers?
Sloop is like peeking around the corner, like watching, but from behind.
Okay. The others of you would notice that there is, alongside of all of these kind of orcs that go down the length of this room, at the far end there is a small altar place and a large wooden door with iron bars brought across it.
I want to take a look at that altar.
All right.
Anyone?
Certainly. I'll come with you, mate. I've got the light.
Appreciate it. These are very different from what I was expecting. Fine
Very
craftsmanship.
peculiar.
Very fine craftsmanship, but I guess that should be expected considering who made them.
Wonder what they'd be doing down here.
It seemed like this was entirely the priest's, I guess, fascination. When we were going through his journal, he was talking about how this idea of creation was very appealing, and I guess to a dwarf that makes sense, the craftsman. But I just wonder why he would need so many. One I could understand. A lot of work. One I could understand, but do you think that dragon's blood may have been for him?
Possibly.
Possibly. What else do they need dragon's blood for?
Dragon's blood is a powerful substance. It can be used for more than orcs. It's just that's, I believe, the biggest reason why it's so illegal. That and, the murdering of dragon people. It can be a very powerful spell component. Honestly, a very ambitious wizard would do anything to get their hands on it. So.
Well, I suppose, though, as a man of the gods, he's less interested in the arcane, but in this circumstance, so I would not be surprised if that much dragon's blood was for this many orcs.
As we're walking up to the altar, do we see anything on the ground, like a circle, or is it all in water?
Yeah, it's not in water. This room is like bone dry. It is a well-hewn stone room all around. You don't see any specific marks or anything in the ground, but you do notice as you start approaching the altar that the ground is strewn with papers, and particularly around the altarpiece, it looks like kind of everything has been thrown out of it and scattered about.
Is there anything on the altar besides just strewn papers, candles, components, herbs?
Can you make an investigation check for me?
Yeah, I certainly can.
Django will start picking up papers and just scanning them for details.
It's supposed to be decent. Oh, that's intimidating. Did I pick? Oh, no, never mind. I was about to say, I think I clicked the wrong thing.
Yeah, Era, you search your way through the altar, but you do see that it is a fairly kind of just not crude, because kind of nothing in this place is crude, but it is a very basic stone altar. It does have a bowl, like a copper bowl in it, alongside of a couple of different instruments you find scattered on the ground, like scalpels and the like. Various writings. Most of the writings and stuff that you pick up seem to be more just about the history of the orcs and general information about them, but nothing seems to be linking to you as like an arcane spell component of the sorts.
So with all of the papers on the ground, does it appear like somebody was taking the information away? Like maybe this was something the priest did after his room was ransacked to hide evidence? Or does it just look like this is an incredibly messy...
Make an insight check.
Insight, I can do that. Are you kidding me?
Oh, no.
That's like one of my good stats. Are you kidding?
You can. It looks like somebody was looking for something in here and just like tossed everything else aside that wasn't it.
This has already been gone through.
As soon as she says that, I'm gonna like turn around and just have my back to them as they're examining the altar, just to keep an eye out behind us.
Yeah, you see Sloop kind of poking in between the statues, kind of in the distance from the door. Lydia, as you stare out across this like sea of orcish faces, you do like start to notice like you've probably ran into a few friendlier orcs in your time. And the more you kind of look at these, the stranger they are. And it's almost like these orcs are handsome. Like they're really well defined. Their features are really well defined. And that's kind of one of the things that seems like strikingly just odd to you. You know, the clothing, the armor, it doesn't really fit their typical style and culture. Everything about them just seems like it's exceptionally well done, but just kind of weirdly off.
It just like doesn't make sense together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Django will start looking through the papers that are on the ground.
Yeah.
Just looking for anything that the person who looked through may have missed before.
Yeah, you can make an investigation check. Again, it mostly just
Not our
seems to
night.
be like history of the orcs, stories about them, a couple like military battles that have happened, reports from like previous armies and the like, but nothing of particular note jumps out to you.
Well, I think whoever came through here before may have taken what was interesting.
Nothing here.
Not that I can see. It's mostly history. Nothing that seems to betray. It seems to be mostly about the history of orcs, their culture. Not really anything about how they're made, or what's anything on the ritual. Nothing arcane that's popping out to me.
And you said that they needed something. They needed the dragon's blood to bring these to life, right?
That is the main component, as far as I understand.
These orcs, they're almost, I don't know, something doesn't make sense, but I have a theory. I don't know how wild it is, but let's keep an eye out for them at the masquerade.
All right. What's your theory, if you don't mind me asking?
These orcs look like they belong in high society. And I couldn't tell you why.
That's strange.
They do.
Well, I don't think they'll be waking anytime soon, love. We've got their dragon's blood.
We have some dragon's blood.
We don't know
Might
if
be
that
more.
was, and to be fair, we don't know if that was intended for the priest or something else. Like I said, it's not just for bringing orcs to life. That is one of its most popular uses, I suppose. But it's a very, very powerful spell component. Anyone with knowledge of the arcane with that in their possession could be very dangerous.
Well, I guess then all we do know is that this blood, that powder, came to the Aaron's warehouse. So they must have been preparing for something.
Yeah. And I would be willing to bet, if I hadn't read the priest's journal, I would have been willing to bet that they had got as far as to even commission the priest for these. But if that's the case, he certainly didn't say it in his book. So I think it's wise to keep an eye out on them. So,
is there anything else for us here? The less time we spend here, the better. Don't want to be caught down here.
Yes, and
Certainly.
the priest would probably already be on his guard after what happened earlier, so it might be best to make our departure.
We have no interest in this other door. I know it has bars on it.
I believe that door probably goes back up into the temple. I would imagine that's how the priest is getting down here. And
Makes
The last
sense.
thing we need is to be discovered.
well, Sloop already did do a search earlier, so I doubt anything's materialized here since then.
Then perhaps we should return. Get our
Yes.
rest for tomorrow.
It's going to be a big day.
Certainly.
Okay. So you make your way back towards the tavern out of the sewers.
I'm going
Great.
to prestidigitation clean everybody as soon as we're out of there.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you come out of the sewers because Sloop kind of went to the closest one. It's mostly only just your boots and a little bit of your hands probably that have gotten grossed up. But you have no problem kind of zapping that away. And you all make your way back to the back to the tavern. It's about 1 o'clock at night. You can see that there's one or two bodies left, but pretty much the place has died down. As you're able to make your way back up and rest for the night.
Awesome.
Okay. as the next day starts, I'm going to say, is there a specific time that you all wanted to wake up at, or are you going for your 8 hours rest?
8 hours. We're gonna
Go for
need
the
it.
8 hours, yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
probably the best idea.
Yeah, so you wake up at around 9 o'clock to what seems like mostly sunny weather outside. It seems that a lot of the fog has burnt off of the harbor, and the sky is looking clear. It's looking like a pretty much beautiful day. The tavern downstairs, you can see, is in its kind of regular breakfast swing. Not that you really saw that on the first day, sleeping through most of it. But you would be able to. Oh, we lost Shelby for a minute.
Oh no.
No.
A quick disconnect. And I will play her. All right, Shannon, you're DMing
All right, great.
in the intro.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I hope you have your notes prepared.
Let's roll some dice, everybody. I'm doing it right. That's how you DM.
That's all DMing is.
That's all it is.
It's pretty much you roll some dice, you make some stuff up. It's and you just continue the story.
Great, cool.
I mean, one thing we can briefly talk about now is as the day begins, any particular things that the three of you, and we'll touch in with Shelby, wanted to do during the day. You know that the party starts at 7 o'clock based on the invitation.
Okay.
And Leia, I would say, because your background, you would know that it is expected that most people would show up on time or fairly close to on time in high society.
All right. I will be sure to communicate that with my friends. At some point, we're going to need to go pick up our stuff, right? That we ordered.
Yes.
Or was that being delivered?
No, we said we'd pick it up.
Okay.
We may want to check out that galleon, maybe it's being built. Just to see if there's any discord we can cause around that galleon. Because if going back to our main mission, if there's a big galleon ready to go in the harbor when our friend the king arrives, that might be not opportune.
I wouldn't mind asking around the docks a bit to see if anybody knows where that ship full of black powder is.
Indeed.
We did some nice discord causing that other night, and we could do a whole lot
we
more with
did.
a full ship.
We should certainly see if there's more discord we can cause before the party tonight, since I'm not sure how much, even though we may have some time after, I think we should get as much in as we can before.
But maybe a little more subtle this time.
Oh, certainly. It is during the day. It is not the middle of the night.
Of course.
We have our Shelby has
there
turned.
she is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Zoom decided to shut down an update.
Oh, lovely.
I believe it's having some
Thank you,
mandatory
Zoom.
security updates right now. So
Yep.
let's hope none of the rest of us disappear for a minute.
Yeah.
So Shelby, you come out of your room to the other three, just briefly discussing what their plans are for the day. They've discussed they want to go up and pick up the outfits from the market row. Django has also shown interest in going down to check out the warship being built in the man of war being built down in the harbor. I think that was the two main things.
Yeah, checking out the docks, asking about the ships.
Seeing
Yeah.
if there's any opportunity to sow a little bit more discord, but
Yeah.
a little more subtly.
Sounds
No big
good.
booms. Unless
big booms.
Unless it's
No.
really
No.
really cool.
No. Even then.
Sloop, was there anything particular you wanted to do today before the party?
Sloop's pretty content to follow the crew here if we're going down to the docks. Yeah, he's excited to ask around about the black powder ship, but
I think the only thing that I want to make sure I do is pick up a mask so that I'm not completely out of place. Not really interested in getting a costume.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's you can really have your choice. You can go pick up your outfits first, or you can make your way to the docks.
Maybe
Let's go to the
go-
dock first.
Yeah, we
First,
can
and
take the-
pick up the shopping on the way back. So you
Yeah,
don't
we're
have to
gonna get
carry
real
it.
dirty down at the docks for sure.
Yes, we don't want to dirty our nice new clothes.
No, we don't.
True.
I don't know why I'm concerned, but I feel like I should be. So
Nonsense, darling, nonsense. You should be excited.
that does not help.
You should be concerned.
Thank you for being honest.
One of us has to. Casting a nasty look at Jago.
I never lie, I only tell stories.
That is a bold-faced lie.
No,
That's
that's
a
actually
story.
true. That's actually true.
Can a story not be a lie?
Well, I may tell quite a bit of fiction and fantasy, darling, but I'll always come clean about it that it is fiction. But I never say I'm telling the truth, do I?
Shall we?
Let's carry on.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So you finish up your quick breakfast, your continental at the tavern, and make your way out down towards the docks. Django, you got a pretty good look at this boat from where you were pointed it out at I believe the jeweler shop.
Yeah.
And you were able to find kind of you head down to the just down to the waterfront from the market, and then head a little further south into what is like the newer-ish part of town, but it's still being very much developed. And it's quite easy to spot this boat from a distance. It is larger than any other boat in the harbor. There's no question about it. And yeah, you're able to kind of see it floating there. A number of dock workers are working away at it. Is there anything particular about it that you want to know?
Can I tell it's like the stage it's in its construction, like how close it is to being finished?
Yeah, make a perception check for me.
Okay. Okay, 16.
16. So you do tend to see most of the dock workers are loading boxes, barrels, and the like onto the boat. They have a crane sort of set up at the end of the docks, and they are working in just quiet harmony with each other. You stand there and you watch for a little bit, and you realize like if they're loading the boat in this way, the boat would be like more or less ready to sail. It would probably take a couple of days of loading based on its size. But it does seem as if the dock workers are working very efficiently.
Mm-hmm. Is there like a foreman or someone who seems to be leading the workers?
I'll keep your 16 on that. As you look around, you kind of try to see who's leading the communication, who's standing around with a hard hat and a clipboard, and you notice that not only are all the dock workers just working, but they're actually not talking to each other at all. There's no one who seems to be in charge. They are all just going about their business.
Okay. I would turn to my compatriots and just say, well, it looks from the rate of work from those dock hands that this vessel is near completion. It may take a few days for them to load it up for its first voyage, but at this point it seems as though it would be ready to leave, or at least bear the sea before our friends arrive. They're working oddly efficiently, these workers, in silence.
But is that strange? Like from our time being around ships, would we think that's weird?
It's strange to not have any kind of communication going on. If you'd like to make an insight or a perception, I can maybe give you more detail.
I'm going to we'll do insight. They're the same.
23 insight. Yeah. So as you're looking at them and you start kind of paying attention more to these dock workers' behavior and realizing it seems almost as if, one goes to pick up a box and turns, and the other person just almost knows that they have this box ready for them. You get a couple of flashes back to your first night in Adrithel and recalling a lot of the dock workers at the tavern who were just sitting there drinking and eating in silence. And the longer you watch them, the stranger it seems to be. Everything is just moving in this constant fluid motion. Nobody is taking a break, which you find particularly strange when it comes to something like hard labor and the loading of a boat. Nobody has kind of gone off to eat or anything. And the dock workers seem a little sickly among them. As you continue to watch and pay attention, it seems like some of them are quite malnourished, and they're not expressing a lot of emotion at all.
Well, that's strange.
What is
It's
it?
normally a lot more ruckus when there's work to be done. Nobody's this quiet.
Especially
they
not
look like-
sailors.
Django, I have a question for you.
Yes, of course.
It's about why you hate the cat so much. Is that a sailor superstition?
Well, for me it is. I wouldn't say it's a typical superstition. I've sailed with many blokes who enjoy having cats on board, takes care of the rats and all, but I just simply despise the creatures, and I do think that they are bad luck on the ship.
I had
I'm
an
not
idea.
sure if it's typical, though.
I had an idea, since these sailors seem to be acting robotic. I was
Very
going
much so.
to I was going to offer to send Jezebel there and see if she gets chased off, or if they even if they even acknowledge her. She's kind of starved for attention. She'll go up to just about anyone. So if I send her there, she will try and get one of their attention.
And if they do ignore her, perhaps she can explore the ship a little bit.
That too.
Yes, exactly.
And if she doesn't find anything, perhaps one of us goes and tries to talk to them and see what happens.
We can see if they
real-
gauge any reaction to seeing the animal first.
Real quick question. The ship is being built by the Nere family, right?
The
That's what we
Ratcliffe
discovered.
family.
Ratcliffe. Okay, that's okay. I knew it was either Ratcliffe or Nere.
Well, if I want to see what she sees, I'm going to need someone to give my shoulder a squeeze, because I can't see and I can't hear
Of course.
when she's doing that.
Certainly. And Django will just clap a hand on her shoulder. Oh, is it not yet? Not
No, not yet. Please, I just cleaned this cloak.
yet. Dreadfully sorry.
She just kind of brushes it off. I need to get a little closer, because she has to be within I have to be within a certain range. But I should be able to. I don't see why I wouldn't be. Someone keep a watch, and I can send her in.
What is the range of that spell?
I believe it's 100 feet. Hold on, I'm checking. I know that's for the touch spell ability, so let me check. It's a big paragraph. While you're familiar with 100, you can communicate with it telepathically. An action you can, and additionally as an action you can see. Yeah, it's 100 feet.
Okay. Yeah. So you would, as you kind of work your way a little closer to the ship, the length of the gangplank, the dock, there are a couple of dock workers standing guard there, as well as some at the gangplank itself. And the rest of the area is a fairly busy hive of movement. It is the middle of a Friday, and it seems quite active there. But you are able to get to a point kind of nearby that that you'd stay within 100 feet if it was on the boat.
All right. Well, I guess that being said, I'm going to take Jezebel, who's probably found her way into my cloak, just sitting there, and take her out, put her down, and order her away, because I want to watch first before I send her into the ship. I want to see reactions.
Yeah. So Jezebel makes her way to the first kind of guards watching the gangplank, rubs right up against the legs of one of them, like intertwines between them. The first guard, you notice, doesn't blink an eye. The next one, she kind of goes up to and looks up and meows at, and you can see he kind of slowly looks down and goes, "Hello,"
Aw.
and then puts his head back up and does a short look around and then just maintains guard stance.
So just would that be considered like a weird response? Like, was he doing it in a very like scripted way, or
you tell me?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe the guy just wanted to say hi to a cat. I don't know.
he seems to, while he kind of had this moment of it, has it's almost his reaction back out of noticing the cat seems strange.
All right. I'll make note of that, and I guess I'll send Jezebel deeper into the ship building. Just generally pestering any worker she finds, meowing at them, rubbing up against their legs.
Yeah, there's
at
lots.
them.
There are lots and lots of workers on the dock, tying on the crane ropes around crates and stuff so that they can lift them up through, getting nets ready, just loading stuff back and forth. You can see that there are people kind of coming from somewhere with supplies. And for the most part, most of them do not seem to be paying any attention. As Jezebel gets more and more like needy and meowing, eventually one of them goes and tries to pick her up.
I mean, she's going to let them because she's like a limp noodle to just about anybody.
Yeah. So the guard picks her up, turns her around, and then just like puts Jezebel under his arm, walks to the front of the dock where the guards are, and then puts the cat on the ground, and then sort of straightens back up and turns and goes back to what he was doing.
That was weird. That was really weird. So I'm not the only one who's seeing that as strange, right? I mean, I understand not everyone likes cats, but
Yes, no, that's very weird.
That's definitely strange.
Would say it's peculiar.
yeah.
Should we try and talk to someone, see what happens, and then be on our way?
All right. And yeah, because I don't think it's worth trying to get into the ship at this point if they're just going to pick her up and take her out. So.
Yes.
Mm.
All right.
Do you think they would do the same to us?
Maybe you, but I'd love to see.
Would you? You know what? That's actually a quite interesting idea. Sloop, try and go in there and see what happens.
Okay.
I would love to see this.
Yeah. Walk up, and as I walk by, just tip my hat to the two guards and just try to walk past them.
Yeah, they immediately do that classic like spear X's over the docks and say, "The dock is closed to civilians."
Oh, I just wanted to look at your wondrous ship.
You can look from here.
And then I will, I suppose.
And kind of look back at everybody and shrug.
Oh, I want to get Sloop on that ship so badly.
You know, your friends here, they
Oh, please ignore that. I was trying to close something. I'm so sorry.
are they how long have they been working on this ship?
He just looks at you and kind of like tilts his head as if he's having trouble understanding you.
Okie dokie. Like a week? Like an hour? Okay. Well,
This dock is closed to civilians. We
right.
work on the ship until it's done.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. It's a good time to stop. Anyway, have a wonderful rest of your day.
And I'll just walk back over to everybody else.
I think we need to get onto that ship.
For what purpose, Mr. Teague?
Well,
Just because we're not allowed to go on, you want to go on.
In short, yes. In long, because it is just a ripe apple asking to be picked.
You know, normally I wouldn't agree with Django, but there's something very weird about how the people are working on that ship. So I wouldn't say that we should get on it tonight. But
Maybe after the ball.
Maybe we do have one more day. So
I could always suggest to these fine gentlemen that I have been sent by the Ratcliffes to inspect their vessel.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
But should we do it now or should we wait?
It's less suspicious if we do it now.
I am at your disposal by your commands, ladies and sloop.
Django, if you can get on there, I know that you hate cats, but do you think you could get Jessie on there so that I can look through her eyes and get to places you can't?
Fine. Bring her to me.
Personal growth. You can do it.
Just going to pick
Just
her
a
up.
cat. It's actually not even a cat.
It's not even a cat. And I honestly, if I knew I was going to use her, I could have just summoned her as a different animal, but we don't have that time now. So here you go.
Hello.
Give her a pet.
I'm holding her.
She goes forward and like licks you on the nose.
Oh, look, she likes you.
She's purring like a motorboat.
Bloody beast. All right.
Give her a pet. She likes you. There you go. See, she's not so bad. Django now loves cats.
I suppose we're not sailing, so...
Think of it this way, Django. Wouldn't you want a ship like this to sink?
There's the logic.
Ooh.
Right. Okay.
Very
Oh boy.
astute.
Let me just check something.
My specialty.
While Django's like making his way up with the cat, can I just look and follow the dock workers to see, like, are they picking up crates and boxes and bringing them on?
Yeah. They're kind of a lot of it is being like there's large nets laid out at the docks that they're putting the boxes in, tying up the nets. The net picks up the crane and cranes it into like the hull of the boat.
Yeah, Sloop is like watching Django walk over, and then his eyes sort of divert to one of those and watches the crates go up and then over and then down into the boat, and he just kind of like and then turns back and watches Django.
Okay.
All right. Django is going to approach, cat in hand, scratching behind the cat's ears. As I approach, I will be saying to the guard, who seems to have been more reactive and saying things. Okay, let me get this right. Django will approach and he'll be scratching the back of the cat's ears, and he'll say, "Dreadfully sorry for my feline's propensity for scurrying onto your vessel. She likes to get ahead of my work. You see, I am Mr. Bartholomew. I have been sent by the Ratcliffes to inspect their vessel for its completion and the loading of materials. Now, good mate, I'm sorry I'm late, and I hope you got word that I would be late, but I am here just to take a quick look for the Ratcliffes upon their vessel, and I will cast suggestion."
Very nice.
What is the save?
It is... Where are you? Suggestion. It is a wisdom... Yes, a wisdom saving throw. My DC is 15.
Django, make a wisdom save.
Oh, I need to make one now? Oh, dear. Okay. Okay. Dirty 20.
Django, as you say this, you see the guard kind of cock his head and look at you and say, "The dock is closed to civilians," and you feel something you've never really felt before almost like tickle the back of your brain. It makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck, and you feel it kind of work its way through, and it's like, you know, when you like lose a frequency in your ears, things, it starts doing that, and it's like a migraine starts coming on, and then it just goes away.
And I'll hold the cat and just sort of stick its finger in my ear and shake it. Oh, I'm so sorry, gents. I must have gotten my days wrong. But I apologize for inconveniencing you. I shall return when it is appropriate to enter the docks to inspect for the Ratcliffes.
And I
Please keep your
command
cat away from the work.
Certainly, she's a rascal, but I'll throw her in the ocean before I let her back on your boat.
And he reaches forward and does like a pat on the cat. Jezebel does not seem to enjoy it.
I'm so tempted to do this. Do I want to do this?
Do it. I'm very tempted to throw her in the water, the cat into the water, and be like,
no.
Climb onto the boat.
I can actually, that might work.
I know it might work.
Arrow would be so pissed if you did, but I want you to so bad.
So Django will turn and start walking towards his compatriots. Sort of once his back to the guards, just sort of be like to them, grimace, and he wants to throw the cat in the water so badly. He'll approach. He's not going to throw the cat in the water right now. He's just going to approach his compatriots and say, and he'll kind of shake his shoulders. Like, I was unsuccessful, which is a strange feeling.
Yes.
It seems to be happening quite often in this place. Memories.
We're getting used to it.
Anyway, I felt something occur when I attempted to cast my spell on them. It was dreadfully frightening. It felt like the hairs on my back stood up and a ringing in my ears. I feel as though something even stranger than we thought is happening around this vessel.
What exactly did you feel?
It felt like my brain was being accosted. I imagine it's what it feels like when I fail my spells on people.
Would I, by that description, be able to know, like, at least what kind of spell that was? Or would that, like, take an Arcana check?
Make a Knowledge Arcana check.
Knowledge Arcana? Sure.
It's never happened to me before.
In tune to the weave.
First time I felt anything like that.
All
right.
Hold on 1 second. Before I take that, I believe I have a D4 I can use. Believe, or is that saving throws only?
That's for saving throws only.
Damn! I don't want to waste my nat 20 yet. So.
Yeah, as he described the feeling that you got from this, that he got from this, you're trying to think of other magics, and you know you think of things in kind of the enchantment school, that or some stuff in illusion, but nothing exact is kind of picking out, and you can't quite whatever it was that was affecting him seems to have is not affecting him anymore. Like you don't feel a latent power off of him.
If you're familiar with this era, with your books and knowledge, I feel uncomfortable.
It's hard to tell based off of just what you were feeling, because magic affects everybody in different ways. People feel different things. It also depends on the caster. I would say illusion, enchantment, maybe. I would imagine that it's
been doing to people.
Are you growing a conscience all of a sudden?
It happens every once in a while. Don't worry, he'll get over it.
Well,
all right.
Either way, whatever seems to have been cast on you is no longer affecting you, which means I can't really investigate it further. I imagine if I could feel the spell, then maybe, but I'm not sure that's a good idea.
That seems risky.
I feel
I would
like
rather
that's
throw your cat in the water and have it climb onto that vessel if that seems appropriate to you. Is it? All right.
Oh my
Like she's like reaching out. She's like she's reaching out like to try and stop him, but it's way too late. And as soon as that cat leaves your hand, she smacks you in the arm as hard as she can.
Why did you? What was the point? Why?
I understand cats could swim, but could you give me a warning?
Can you make a dex save for Jezebel?
Oh God.
See whether or not she can catch some wood or something on the dock.
If
And
you-
then-
About to throw you in the water. That was not kind.
14.
I may understand why that was not appropriate. But now,
Django, can I get you to make a ranged attack?
sure. I'll,
14's right on that edge where I'm like,
okay, so just a dex roll, right? Okay. Do I have anything that allows me? Where do I click for that? I guess I could just do a d20 and add my dex. Okay, so that would be a natural 20. I don't like that my natural 20 was used for throwing a cat into the water.
yeah. So you hear this meowing cat arc across over a set of crates and boxes and whatnot on the side of the wharf, and then you just hear a whoosh, and this of the howling of the cat in the water.
Okay, you know how Era normally just has an air of bitch around her? I think this is the first time she's been legitimately mad.
Django will quietly approach her and be like, I'm terribly, dreadfully sorry, mate.
Django Weatherby Teague, I swear to God.
You need to back up.
But now...
No, back up.
If it was not for the fact that we are surrounded by so many witnesses, I would send you out in a blaze of glory right here.
And you have
Oh,
noticed
no, I would not blame you.
Among the witnesses, there you see about like around half of the dock workers are still just mindlessly going about their business.
I didn't react to that.
About half of them have turned and are looking at this cat in the water and are looking at the group of you. A couple of people on the kind of boardwalk walking along, like you see some old lady be like, well, I never.
I'm going to make a show of trying to get to the dock and get my cat.
Yeah, can you make a performance check?
All right, sure. This will be interesting. Are you kidding me? Can I? You know what? I'm gonna burn it. Can I burn my natural 20 on this one?
You can, yeah. If
Your
so
D4,
choose.
you can add your D4.
I thought
Yes,
that
and
was
I have been
gonna be-
informed that the D4s have been changed, so they can be used on any roll now,
Oh well, then.
at least on skill rolls.
Well, yeah. Then I'm gonna do that. 1d4. All right.
So a 12 on the performance. So you do see like you start causing a huff and a fluff as you go, kind of making your way to where the ladders are leading down into the water, and you see some of the dock workers kind of like one of the guards kind of go to step forward, but it's like this is fine, we have eyes on it. But you have noticed that the crowd around this, as Era is causing a scene, is starting to build up. And Django, you are getting a variety of insults thrown at you, and
right.
sly words, cutting words said under people's breath, like, "Geez, it looks like some dirty pirate doesn't even have respect for a cat. Well, just it's unnecessarily cruel. Oh, I know, I would never do that to a poor innocent animal."
I have a question. Because it doesn't say this in the familiar spell. Does she need to breathe?
No. I mean, I
Okay.
don't think so. It's a magic cat. Like,
Well, what I'm going to command her to do is go under the water.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So
Start
the
swimming.
Jezebel starts going under the water. It's not so graceful. as this is happening, like there's other people kind of who have come down to the edge of the water, and you start hearing like, oh my god, I think it's drowning.
I'm going to cast with my soothing words feature calm emotions on the crowd of people and
Jesus Christ.
just saying, all is well, folks. Terrible mishap has happened. The cat simply leapt from my hands, and I had no other recourse but to let her be free for a moment. But we are on it. You can return about your business. This will be all resolved shortly, my fair people.
What is the DC for this save?
So it's each humanoid in a 20-foot sphere centered on a point you choose within range must make a charisma saving throw. Yeah. And yeah, it's charisma saving throw. 15 is the DC.
You see a bunch of them are like, oh, it seems, geez, maybe it's not so bad. And then this one lady just comes forward with a purse and just starts hitting you. And she's like, you monster, don't you lie to these people. I can throw that cat over the edge.
I get in the middle of it and elbow her away. Stop.
James, I deserve it. I absolutely deserve it, madam.
Oh, you pirates are all the same. You come to the city, you cause a ruckus, and you just ruin everything for everybody. How dare you cause such a poor innocent cat? It was a beautiful white cat.
Thank you for your opinion. Move along, please.
And yeah, you can see this woman's like feathers get ruffled up, and she,
I'll ruffle them right back.
And you can see she grabs this twiggy weak husband of hers and starts like chiding him and berating him as they walk down the street.
And I give him an eye as he walks by. Just like
he doesn't even he's just like, yes dear, yes, yes, of course. I know.
Oh, the woman was doing. Oh, okay, I thought he was.
Yeah.
Got it.
While this is all going on, I'm going to start commanding Jezebel to start swimming underwater towards the ship. I want to see if I can get her on the other side of it so that she's not noticed when she climbs up.
Yep. So make a stealth check for Jezebel. There's not necessarily a lot of ways to climb the ship. I mean, I guess she's a cat. She has claws.
Cats can climb. Especially when to get out of water.
Yeah.
That is a 23. Okay. I don't know why. I need to set this to roll normal. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So it takes some time, but Jezebel kind of works her way further down the boat, kind of to around the midway point. As she starts getting closer to the ship, Era, I'm gonna need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
I don't even want to hear that from you. 20.
Yeah. So
nice.
Your vision through the cat's eyes, it's very murky. You're kind of losing a lot of your senses. And it just starts to like cut in and out. And you see Jezebel looking around under the water and can't really see very far, but gets scared by like a bubble that comes up by her. But then keeps making her way, and you manage to keep the connection to her as she makes her way to the far end of the dock. The crowd around you is still kind of like, what is going on, especially because I guess, Era, if you're looking through, you're in this semi-conscious state, kind of coming in and out of this vision from the cat.
Yeah, I will say, as she started looking, she did just kind of make it look like she's just looking down at the water, grieving for her now lost companion. Not really, just to give like a good ruse for anybody who's trying to talk to her as to why she's not responding.
Yeah, and you're getting like a crowd of comforting onlookers, that are kind of talking to you, falling on deaf ears, and shooting daggers back at Django with their eyes.
I'll keep commanding her to get onto that ship as fast as
Yeah,
possible.
so Jezebel gets up onto the, works her way up to the top level of the ship without any issue, and is able to look around. It is busy on top of the ship. And you can see that there are kind of a variety of things going on, from people just like loading stuff in, moving stuff around. There's people kind of making their way up and down through the staircases of the ship. And it's really just like, it's a busy work day as they're trying to get the boat loaded and ready.
Is there any immediate, like, as she can see, do I see any immediate openings that she could slip through that would maybe go below deck?
From where she would have climbed up, you can see the central opening on the boat where they're loading cargo in and down. There are a couple of doors that kind of lead to various areas on kind of like the higher levels. I don't know the ship term for this, not off the top of my head.
Upper decks,
but
lower
like
decks.
Basically just all of the upper decks that come up from the main deck. But she can't, from where she is, she cannot necessarily see the staircase leading down like the regular route.
I guess what I'm going to have her do is wait for a particular dock worker who's just coming on with supplies that seems to be heading inside. I want to have her tail his heels. Like, just kind of trailing in his shadow like cats tend to do.
Yeah.
Right up on his heels.
So surprisingly, it seems as if Jezebel is having a fairly easy time getting around this ship. The workers all around it are busy with their things. She's weaving in and out of a variety of footsteps all falling down around her. But she's able to kind of catch on to one and start following its way that looks to be possibly carrying something downstairs.
Mm-hmm. And she's not hearing any talking, no conversation, even when we get downstairs where there would, like, you wouldn't see people, there's no conversation.
As she gets to the stairs, the top of the stairs, she kind of sees this person going down and looks down into the darkened hull of the ship. And you see her from her vision put one paw forward and then like stop. And then tries it again and just puts it right on the edge. And I need you to make another wisdom save.
Okay. 21.
21. You feel a monstrous stinging in your head. Your vision from this just starts to shake and rumble and starts to go white. You are going to take a lot of psychic damage right now.
Oh, this is going to be bad. I'm a wizard. This is not a good thing.
You failed with a 21?
Oh boy.
You take 23 psychic damage as you lose the connection to Jezebel.
I'm far past bloodied at this point.
Okay, I thought you were going to say you went unconscious.
4 points off.
Okay. Well.
Okay. Hera's gonna come out of it holding her head and trying to hold in this gasp of intense pain. She's like covering her eyes and she's like trying to like get her become aware of her surroundings again. She's gonna try and like shakily stand up and dismiss. She's gonna dismiss the cat entirely.
Your connection to the cat is gone. You
so
cannot
it was
feel
as if
your familiar is killed.
Was
Yeah, she was poofed. As you kind of come up from this flash banged state of wail, your hearing starts to come back in as you just see these onlookers be just consoling you and just yelling at Django, as it seems like this poor innocent woman has just had her cat murdered on the docks.
I'm gonna push past everyone.
Sloop Lydia and Django, can I get you guys to make perception checks?
Yes.
Got it.
Oh, please do better than me. Thank you, Sloop, for doing better.
Yep. Natural one. I deserve
Sloop,
that.
you
A couple things at the extreme there.
you've been sitting back and watching a lot of this happen. And in particular, there are two large things that you have noticed. When Era came back up from this, grabbing her head, you noticed all of the dock workers look at her for a second before going back to work. Every single one of their heads turned. The other thing you notice is the unmistakable sound of guard boots making their way down towards your direction.
So Sloop has been like very slowly, as everybody has been on the docks with this big, as he sees it, distraction, has been slowly making his way over to one of the nets that is getting ready to get pulled up onto the ship. And he's kind of like just fiddling and like reaching backwards like he's going to try to grab one of the ropes, and then sees them all snap towards Era, and then hears all the guard boots and very quickly just runs back into the crowd like, oh yes, oh terrible, the cat fell in the water. We have to go right now. It's time to go.
Yes.
Era's gonna get up, grab onto Django's arm for stability, and start trying to stumble away.
Oh yes, she needs time to mourn her wet dead cat. We should go to a more private place for her.
Yeah. Janko doesn't
start-
say anything.
I'll start telling off the people who are in our way. Just, all right, you've seen the show. Move along. Let's go. Get
Yes,
out of
and
the
we're
way.
taking this guy to cat jail. He's going to jail.
And
Yes,
grab-
just regular jail, not cat jail.
Django.
Go.
Yes, standard jail.
I will be taking care of him myself. Just move along.
Can I get either a from whoever wants it, and I'll let you take it with advantage because of the group helping, either a performance or a deception. I think one of the two.
I vote.
I can do it.
vote.
Or I can offer aid.
I vote Lydia because she's the one that punched out an entire tavern in one go.
I mean,
I would also allow for intimidation if you wanted to be a little.
they're
tougher.
all the same. Yeah, I'll go intimidation. Trying to scare them out of my way. How'd we do?
With a 16.
Not bad.
You yell at the crowd to kind of get out of your way, make way for the morning lady, and you can see that a lot of them are giving kind of real rough looks to Django, but you're able to carve a path out of the crowd, and by the time that the guards show up, they are kind of caught and busied with this mob of people that you have left in your wake, and you're able to slip into some nearby alleyways and avoid their gaze. And with that, I think we are going to take ourselves a quick 5-minute break while we grab some water and drinks. So chat, thank you for sticking around so far, and we'll see where this misadventure gets them after the break. Soon.
Oh, that went from 0 to 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Ruffians. We have just come from the docks, from the harbor side, outside of a large man-o'-war that's being built by the Ratcliffe family, where an unfortunate scene was caused just outside. A bunch of innocent bystanders and dock workers watched as this heartless criminal mastermind just murdered a poor innocent cat, threw it into the water. Little did they know that that cat was magical and was actually fine and trying to sneak aboard a ship that went not so good for the cat in the end. Yeah, it's been a rough day for cats. I'm gonna go pet my cats after this stream. That's for sure. Give them a good snuggle and be like, I'm sorry what I've done for your whole con. You caused a huge scene, and the guards came down, particularly because of one angry lady who beat Django up with a purse. Not that you know that, but she ratted you out to the cops. And yeah, you've escaped down an alleyway, and yeah, it's getting to be it's probably just after all of this, making your way down there. It's a little bit in the afternoon here now, probably around like maybe noon, 1 o'clock-ish or so. And yeah.
I have a very quick question.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to do this before break, but we ran out of time. Because I've experienced what I can only assume Django went through, would I have a better idea of what the hell is going on that ship? Like
I will
whatever.
let you make another Arcana check.
Oh, I have three
Come on,
nat
come on, come on,
20s.
come on, come on, come on, come on.
I have 3 nat 20s to burn.
dang.
Should I just use one?
Should
I just use one?
Yes,
You
just use
see,
one. There you go.
I'm
Throwing the
gonna-
cat in the water got us some nat 20s.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
You're
gonna
not
burn
coming
one
back.
of
You're
my.
not coming back from this, man.
I'm going to burn one of my nat 20s that was so
Okay.
kindly given to me as a thank you for my.
So, Ira, you... the feeling is a strange one to you, but after Django telling you about it and after you feeling this kind of pain inside your head, you get a number of sensations about this. One of which is that you feel as if you are being watched. You look around, you don't see anybody, but you can't help but sense this kind of like arcane eye on you. The magic itself seems to be a bit, particularly what took out Jezebel, seemed to be very protective, defensive magic more than anything else. Kind of a anti-scrying, not quite an anti-magic field, but something that would prevent magical means from penetrating through it. The actual, how to describe this? The feeling of it, you would know it is psychic damage, and you would probably have only ever run across this a few times on the sea during particularly strange phenomenon. Perhaps while you're on a boat and the waters go dead silent, almost an inky blackness has surrounded them, and that's the only time that you can really think of that you felt this presence before. You're not sure what it is. Even with a nat 20, you know that there are things that are beyond your knowledge, and whatever it is that did that to you is something of great power. It is worrisome to you.
I hate to ask, but would you, for mind, just going to the market on your own? I'd like to return back to the beggar and cast. I need to check something, and my head.
All right.
I feel like I'm being watched, and I need to check things.
You pick up your mask, mate.
Yes. Do you
Thank
want
you.
someone to go with you? I can go with you if you want. Django will get my things.
Sure, it might be a good idea if I am
Well, let me
being
go with you.
tailed. It might be a good idea.
Yes. All right. We'll see you back at the beggar and cost then, yeah?
Okay.
Be safe. Be careful, you two, and you especially, Django. It seems you've made a couple enemies.
I tend to disappear into crowds after doing terrible things. So
Well, I would advise
Nothing
you
new.
might want to disappear into this one. You angered quite a few people.
yes, that seems evident. I'll keep an eye out.
All right.
So Django and Sloop, you make your way up towards the market square. As you're going about, can I get both of you to make a perception check for me?
Certainly.
And actually, Lydia and Ira, I'll get you both to make perception checks as well as you make your way back to the tavern.
Perception.
Um,
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna chalk that down to I have a massive migraine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sleep with another net 20,
How do
dude.
I get
Oh,
to-
okay.
Yeah.
Great. Sloop, eyes of gold, apparently.
Yeah.
Am
I
I
was a
cheating?
hawk.
So Sloop and Django, as you're walking around, you make your way up to the market row. You're slowly making your way to the tailors, and you notice on a pole just on the way up a poster that says "Wanted for questioning" in regards to the recent attack on the city. and you see. At first, you don't really recognize the picture, and you kind of cock your head, and you realize it's a crude and not quite accurate depiction of Django.
Oh no!
Already?
Oh no!
As you grab the poster and take a closer look, you can see that it makes notes to a possible other accomplice with him, but that it's very specifically saying, like wanted alive, solely for questioning, not on specific charges. Just that and Django, you can see like they've gotten the like the mutton chops right, but a lot of the rest of the face is it's not a great rendition. Like half of it is kind of good, but
they didn't get my nose right at all.
You have a receding hairline in it.
Oh, I look dreadful.
Oh, someone was mad at you, described you, it looks like. This happens to me all the time. They draw me as like a little tubby guy. Give me like a little eye and stuff. They do it whenever I'm wanted. They always draw a bad picture on purpose. It's to get in your head.
If I'm going to be wanted, I'd like to at least look my best. All right, and he'll take out his, even though it doesn't look exactly like him, he'll take out his scarf and wrap it around his head and just do what he can to make himself look different.
Sure.
As best
Make
he can.
a deception check for me.
Sure thing.
Or a disguise kit check if you have and are proficient in it. I will allow either. They're basically the same thing.
So I'm going to do a deception check because with my actor feat, I have advantage on deception checks when trying to pass myself off as a different person.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm not looking at Roll20, that's why. Okay. Deception. Okay.
12. Okay.
12.
You wrap up a bandana. You kind of like dust a little dirt in your cheeks to dim in your complexion. Sloop, you can see that he's done like a passable job, and with the poster, you think he'll be okay.
I kind of I take some ketchup from my shirt and just kind of like smear it on the side of his face, just kind of like doll him up a little bit with that and say,
it'll do. I mean,
I appreciate that, friend. Well, shall we pick up? I suppose we should be quick and get out of here and back to the tavern.
Yes, sounds good.
As you make your way into the tavern shop, the tailor shop, the little bell rings. You can see that it's even busier in here today than it was yesterday. There's quite a few people picking up order. The same gentleman that you saw just the other day is like, oh yes, I recognize you immediately.
Darling.
Gives a little clap and grabs his package. He says, oh, and is this your son?
Yes.
I forgot about that.
What?
Certainly, darling. Yes, this is my boy. This is our boy. He's an adoptive child, of course, but we love him dearly.
Of course.
Me?
And you see him kind of like looking back at the packages that he brought out and said, geez, I'm afraid we may have gotten some of the measurements a little loose, or tight, as it were. We could try something quickly. It won't quite be as elegant, but might fit him a little bit better.
We'll certainly do what you need to make my boy look as magnificent as I will look. He will need to present himself quite well tonight. It's our first night bringing him out amongst other people.
Right. And you can see him. He's kind of like humming and hawing, and he runs off into the back and disappears for a brief minute. Shortly after.
Oh, well, yes, I forgot to tell you, Sloop. I've acquired you an outfit for this evening.
Not what I was referencing. Okay.
Well, your measurements are roughly that of a child, so we said you were our son.
My people have a proud lineage, I'll have you know.
And I have a proud lineage as well, I'll let you know. Look at this sword, it's beautiful. Family heirloom.
Yes,
Goes back generations.
The scale was created by a god of murder and chaos.
A sword with gems made from a god of fine jewelry.
I will not be made to be your son just because I am small.
And
People
on
try
that,
to put me in a baby carriage. I swear to God, people try to put me in a baby carriage all the time. They say, "Oh, it's my little ugly son. Look at
Mate,
this,
it's
my
just
little
for the outfit. You're not going to be our son at the masquerade.
There
It's
is
just,
history
it's just
behind these
for the
things. You have to
outfit.
be careful about who you call your.
It's just for the outfit, mate. You are your own man when we go into this masquerade.
Okay, just for the outfit, just for now. I'm sorry, I have a temper.
No, it is perfectly understandable. I'd be as enraged as you were if it had happened to me. But let's just get these outfits and be gone as quickly as possible. If they ask, my name is William Roos. Hello.
Hello. I've come up with a bit of a different option for you, if you so choose. I have here, as he slides across a couple of boxes, the two originals, and he opens it up. Django, you can see this beautiful black feathery outfit with the colored plumes of the bird of paradise and everything throughout it. He opens up a smaller box next to it that is a exact perfect matching outfit. Just in small little child size. And then he looks at Sloop and goes, "No, I mean, you're welcome to it. It might be a little tight, but if not, we do have something that I think would be at least fitting for the masquerade." And he opens up another one that contains a small, again, a small suit, but a little bit baggier and bigger. That's an all-white tux. That matches quite well in like a black and white against your own outfit.
It's your choice. Of course, you're your own man.
Oh, thank you, Papa. So kind of you to allow me to choose my own suit on my little boy birthday today. Wow, I feel so honored.
And he just like snatches the white tux and sticks it under his arm. And he's like,
My father will pay for this.
Oh, don't forget your mask.
Oh, yes, the mask, of course. What is it, a tiny little sailor hat? Maybe like a little baby bonnet?
No, it's. I'm afraid it's not quite as elegant as the fanciful bird of paradise. But he pulls out this masquerade mask that is the shape of a seagull's head, with the big yellow beak. That he kind of is like, well, this would help cover the nose part.
What are you implying there, my child?
He's
beautiful.
I'm trying to be angry, but I actually like this mask quite a bit.
Snatch that too, and say,
Pay the man, Daddy.
and then
Certainly.
storm out the front door.
A lovely child you have, sir. Let me just grab your wife's outfit as well. And you can see he talks to another assistant and brings out the box containing Lydia's, as he opens it, this chitinous burgundy ant dress with accompanying mask.
It's all absolutely
mask,
stunning.
huge antennae kind of coming out from it as well, along with these like two pincery pincers for like the jowls. The extended jowls are like two big pincers that come down and frame the face.
Very cool.
It is weird, but like pretty nice.
Yeah, these are excellent. Thank you so much. Yes, he is a difficult child, but he is certainly the jewel of my eye. He is my entire heart. We would like at least one other mask, please. We have a friend attending the event with us. Something elegant, something simple, black perhaps.
Of course. Any particular animal that you're looking for?
Just trying to think of what.
D100 animal list.
I'd say something that might shout out. I don't know exactly what she'd like, but something that says, "Don't talk to me," but mysterious. Like it. They don't want to be spoken to, but they want everyone to think, "Oh, look, she's mysterious."
I think I know exactly what you mean. As he runs into the back and comes out with this really cute, round panda bear mask in black and white.
My friend's going to kill me.
Django will look at it and be like, and he's like making calculations in his head, like, I don't really have time to pick the right mask. Maybe something a bit more, you know what, something more subtle. Let's just go with, we're going with a bird theme, I believe. Perhaps a raven or even maybe along the lines of a bear, maybe something a bit less, a little more subtle, a black bear, maybe.
Yes, we could do either of these. Your preference, sir.
We'll go with a subtle black bear look.
Yeah. So he again he takes the panda bear mask, goes to the back, and comes out with this like grizzled black bear mask that you can see is made from an actual black bear's like trophy, and you can see it's one of those black bears that like for sure killed 40 dudes before they took it down. Like it's got the scar running across the eye. It's got animal claws on one of the cheeks. Like it looks tough and mysterious and dangerous.
This is just as ferocious as my sister. I will gladly take this for her. We are a whole family now.
And he rings you up the bill of sale, slides it across. It is within your coin purse to pay. And he gives you the boxes and points you to the door happily.
Pleasure, sir. Thank you very much. The name's William Rouse. I was happy to do business with you.
The pleasure is all mine, William. Have a wonderful time at the masquerade.
We shall, and we will tell everyone where we got our outfits.
He's already gone and dealing with another customer,
Yes,
like the moment he says that sort of thing.
Money, he's got the money. He's done. All right.
So Django and Sloop, you are able to make your way back to the tavern, but first let's cut back to Lydia and Era, who are already there.
All right. This is going to be difficult because Era's in a lot of pain. Do I still feel that feeling like I'm being watched? Is that still there?
Fades the further you get away from the boat.
No, then what I was going to do is not going to work. I was going to try and detect magic and see if I could find a scrying spell. I guess it can't hurt to try it anyway, right? So,
What can I do to help?
I don't know. Honestly, I think we should be staring clear of that shit at all costs right now. That very much almost did me in.
All right.
I just
need a drink. Do you need food? What do you need?
Some water would be fine, thank you. I think I just need to rest a bit for tonight.
Right.
While she's gone, I'm going to cast Detect Magic.
Yep. Just quickly check a little note here. Yeah. So you are within the bedroom at the tavern while you do this?
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming I'm going to detect everything that I know is magical in the room, but I'm looking for something foreign.
Yep. So as the spell goes off, you are still feeling this this sense of being watched. And as the Detect Magic spell goes off, you open your eye and see the entire room, wall to wall, is just covered in eyes that are looking at you. They're all moving and undulating, all in different rhythms. And they kind of, when they see this happen, you can see that they like whip to the spell and then blink out. and all just all around you. They shut, close, and disappear.
I'm going to go back to the desk. I'm going to pull out some parchment and my ink and quill, and I'm going to write a note because I don't think it's safe to speak. And specifically, as soon as Lydia comes back, I'm going to pass her the note, and it's going to say very simply, "The walls have ears, mind what you say."
You can tell when they blink out, whatever that spell watching you has ended.
I'm still
You do
giving
not
her the
detect
message.
anything in there. Yeah.
I'm still giving her the message because that is too much of a risk for what we're here for.
So reading it, I'll hand her glass of water. All right. I'm going to hand this to the boys when they come in.
For the record, they seem to be gone now. But be mindful. I don't know if they'll come back. Until the boys get back, I'm going to lay down. Try and get this pounding headache to go away.
I'll wait for them.
So Ira, you lay down within about an hour, little over that. Django and Sloop make their way back in. Lydia, you see them coming down the laneway. I'm
Would I
assuming
be
you're
able
probably up
to-
having a drink with Creek, perhaps, at this top table.
Yeah.
Would I be able to count that hour as a short rest for me so I can spend a hit die to heal?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. I'll take that.
And they come back in, and it is around there's about almost 3. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
All right. As they come upstairs with all of their shopping, I'm going to hand them the note. Read this first, please.
Hand it down to Sloop. Certainly.
Yes, understood.
All right. I believe Ara is sleeping, so quiet when you go in.
Aye. As we were. And can we go back upstairs? You said that Creek, where is Creek again?
Creek is often hanging out on this second floor. Right now, he's just been chilling at the big table overlooking the front window.
Now, it is common knowledge to me that we should arrive as close to on time, even a little bit early, to the ball tonight. We don't want to show up late and be made a laughingstock. So, how long did it take us to get there? About half an hour, maybe? 20 minutes?
Yeah, making it through the streets, yeah.
Well, we're going to have fancy clothes on, so let's allow for 45 minutes before it's supposed to start. And we should arrive in plenty of time.
Certainly. I couldn't agree more.
If you want to just wait out until the official party time starts, you can kind of take another 3 hours rest. So if you want to take any more hit dice during that time, you're absolutely welcome.
God, I'm so tempted to take them all right here because I'm so low.
Django will, during at least one of those hours, go in and give a somewhat of an apology for the situation earlier. Won't put too much time into just, I'm terribly sorry, darling, for what happens at the docks.
It's all right. The ends justify the means. I won't lie, I was more shocked, but after what we found, I think that it was worth it. But expect her to be a bit patty to you when I summon her back.
Certainly. And Django will play, as he's sitting with her talking about this, he'll play a small tune on his mandolin and give her Song of Rest so she can use an extra D6 for her hit points.
Thank you. That's basically giving me another hit die. Thank you.
The only thing I would like to do before we just wait out until the masquerade is I would like at some point to stop in with Creek and just speak with him very briefly.
Yeah, he's up there chilling.
Okay. So Django will go up to Creek and just sort of sit across from him and just say, so, we've done a little bit of dismay, as you may have heard, but tonight we are heading into this masquerade. I don't know if you have further information or leads that we may find useful, but I think we've discovered quite a lot in this small port town.
Of course, love.
As we enter into this masquerade tonight to, I don't know, find out more information, so whispers, rumors, do you have any advice, my friend?
He sits and thinks a little bit. I have a feeling it won't be easily solved by Lydia punching out a bunch of idiots.
I agree for sure.
We're going to have to look at least like we blend in.
Understood, mate. We'll put more of an effort in on subtlety.
Well, don't worry about me, love. I will look fabulous.
You're as charming as me, mate, Craig. We will.
That was a
rendezvous.
bold-faced lie.
I do indeed like you. We will check in with you again on the morrow to discuss the last stages of our mission here.
If they can make it out of that nest.
Indeed. And Django will give him a bow and rejoin the others.
Yeah, he gives you a nod and kicks himself back up, has a drink, and does his regular creak of watching the tavern go by.
Bloody bird is
What?
nothing. He's a little rude.
Oh, is he? That's rich.
Django will pout in the corner for a little while.
Yeah. So the time passes. You have a couple of hours. About 6:30 hits, and you make your way out of the room. You all come busting out to some real solid theme song, I'm sure, in all of your magnificent outfits.
Yes.
You make your way up towards the Nere family mansion. You cross through the market square up to the market row, climb up the hill, and as you start approaching the mansion, you can see that there's already a little line of people outside, and that they're kind of letting people in stages.
Okay.
Oh, masks. Okay.
Masking up. We're masking up.
Go.
All right.
Oh.
Oh,
God.
So left out.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my god.
Oh God, is mine sitting on my face right?
How did you have a seagull mask ready?
Right?
Did you make that? That looks awesome.
We would hope I wouldn't have bought it.
Is that made out of paper?
Oh, it looks
It's made out of
fantastic.
Oh,
paper
that's
and it's
amazing.
extremely pointy. There's a lot of armature wire in it. I'm gonna hit my nose all
Oh my God,
Oh
Sean.
my god.
Oh my god.
Yes. Django Weatherby Teague will look absolutely fabulous tonight.
I just look like Morticia Adams, but I'm okay with it.
I look like the only one who's normal for a masquerade.
Are you saying that this is not normal? I will say for the masquerade, I'm going to keep my fancy cloak, but I'm going to discard my usual one because it is rather old and tattered. Era wears a fairly nice white dress with a corset underneath. It's fairly fine compared to what everybody else is wearing.
Yeah.
I think it'll pass off well enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you have some, for sure would come with your own clothes and fancy accoutrements as well. So you all line up. You can see that there's a good kind of crowd ahead of you, but it is moving at a fairly good pace towards the gate. Directly outside the gate, you can see that there are people arguing with the guards. And it's hard to get a quite earshot of them until you're really like right up to the edge of the gate about to be let in. And you can just hear the guard being like, I don't care who you say you are. If you don't have an invitation, I'm not letting you into the party. That's the one rule we're basically told tonight. No invitations, no party. And you can see this elderly man just yelling at him and just saying like, I'm Adrithel Aaron. This party is for me. And he's wearing this like magnificent bald eagle mask and a very, very nice tux. And he's like, yeah, buddy, you're Adrithel Aaron, and I'm the Sapphire King. Look, if you don't have an invitation, you're not getting in. And you move past this crowd and make your way up to the front gate, where there is a butler and a cat waiting for you there. The butler is dressed in a full tux, and you can see the cat is a black and white tuxedo cat. The two of them are wearing basically an adorable matching uniform together. They say, hello there, hello, may I have your invitations, please?
But of course, and I'm assuming that we were smart enough to bring those. I'm going to reach in somewhere and present them.
I'm assuming you were smart enough too.
Yep.
We went through a lot of trouble to get those.
We did. Yes, we did.
And he says to you, very good. Yes, everything is in order. My name is Atter. I will be your host for the evening. And if there is anything you need, please find me or Askad here. And don't hesitate to ask. And the little cat goes, meow, and looks up at you. And he turns, I know, right? He turns and opens the doors into this mansion as you follow him in. Veg, can we switch to the map? And I think you should all be able to see
fancy
your things, maybe. I hope.
Oh, we're all the way down there.
All the way down at the bottom.
Oh,
yeah.
it's down. Okay.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, just the dynamic lighting.
Aha.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
So, as Atter leads you in through the front door, you enter a short hallway. Boop. Boop. With a couple closed doors on either side and one large set of ornate double doors open to you and overlooking a grand ballroom. At an ajar door in the hallway, Atter stops, turns to you and asks, may I take your coats? You'll find even with the cool sea breeze that the hall can heat up quite a bit in the revelry.
Of course.
Of course.
I will keep mine for now, mate. It is part of my costume.
Just to be sure, the cloak of Beha is invisible, right?
Is invisible, yes.
Okay, so yeah, I'm keeping that.
Yep. Atter takes your coats, asks you to wait there for a moment while he ducks into just one of the side rooms that's ajar. Behind the door, a short kerfuffle can be heard as two masked teenagers come bolting out of the room, straight past you and into the great hall. Atter reemerges and says, my apologies for the young ones. Askad, do keep an eye on them, will you? As the cat takes off in hot pursuit and a little meow. Now, how would you like to be introduced to the hall?
Oh.
You must be introduced. It is tradition. Your names?
With the Blackwood family.
The Blackwood family. Very good, very good.
This is my sister here, as I put my hand on Lydia, her husband and their son.
Please make a deception check for me.
Okay, all right, cool. Oh, please. Do I just want to burn a nat 20 right now? So
Yes.
that don't cost me? Yes. That's
Hard
exactly
yes.
what. I have them. I'm going to use them.
Use
so,
them.
Yeah.
That's what they're for.
I have a lot of them. Thank you for sacrificing my cat. So yeah, we're going to burn a nat 20 for that.
So, as you push through the doorways, you find yourself. Whoop, whoop. Let me zoom up the map a little. As you push through the doorways, you find yourself at the top of this large staircase that spirals around both sides of a magnificent water fountain at its base. Trumpets briefly sound out on either side of you as Ator loudly declares, "Now presenting the Blackwood family." Across the sea of bodies, a few eyes clock your entrance, but most seem to be wrapped up in private conversations or in the arms of their dance partners. To describe the room before you as luxurious would be an understatement. This grand ballroom stretches out into the distance with a vaulted cathedral-style ceiling filled with glittering chandeliers and etched artwork on every available surface. The eastern wall on your right is made entirely of floor-to-ceiling glass that opens out onto a stone balcony, offering the most magnificent nighttime view of the entire docks district. At the far end of the room, a full band can be seen playing to the delight of the guests, and a raised platform with oversized seating lords over the room like it's a king's court. On the western wall to your left, a large curtain is pulled back to reveal a wide hallway where servers can be seen entering and exiting, clearing various dishware from the tables and returning with a ceaseless supply of drinks to serve the guests. The guests themselves are many and varied. This room is packed to the brim already with more outside waiting. They are all well adorned with magnificent masquerade masks, tuxedo jackets, and rainbows worth of colorful dresses and accessories. Between the whirl of dancing people, the intoxicating aromas of the kitchen, the constant buzz of excited conversations, and the upbeat tempo of the house band, it is a dizzying affair as you lean over the staircase railing and have a moment to take it all in before descending into the chaos below.
As we descend, I am just going to kind of offhandedly mention, if anyone asks who the Blackwoods are, say the name Davin Blackwood.
Davin Blackwood.
This reminds me of home, and I do not like it.
Look sharp, gents and ladies.
If anyone asks who Davin is, say he's a prominent wizard. That's all you'll need to say. Hopefully.
Right.
Wizard.
And I am sorry, Sloop. I genuinely apologize. And for once, she doesn't have a bitchy tone in her voice, so.
It's okay. I am genuinely overjoyed. Usually places like this, I have to enter through a window or a basement, and they let me in the front door. I can't believe they let me in the front door.
Why don't you enjoy some merriment before we do what we're here for? I think be a good idea to blend in.
Merriment, indeed. Oh, is that cocktail we miss?
And then
It is.
Yes.
Sloop is gonna run towards the sauciest food that he can find for his white tuxedo.
He finds some barbecue wings.
Sloop, you make your way down, and almost immediately he disappears from view from the group of you as he has to kind of duck in between crowds of people and make his way over to a nearby table.
Don't go too far, darling.
No problem, mother. Oh, weird wings. These are such a weird thing to put out of the party. Everybody's always
Don't.
so messy. Whoops.
Don't get anything on your new outfit, please.
Wouldn't it be a neat party trick if he did?
No,
she
it's not
just
the trick.
kinda-
He does it all the time.
I was more talking about the cleaning process. I find that that's a pretty popular part of the trick where I'm from.
Oh, well, they might like that.
Right.
I'm not very good at lying, but if I am good at anything, it is magic. And well, that spell that I keep using has many, many uses. So if at any time I need to cause a distraction for you two, just give me a nod.
Certainly. Well, and Django will put an arm out to Lydia. Shall we, Captain?
I will take his arm. We shall.
The two
Try
of you
and
make
stay
your-
in eyesight of each other, just in case.
You know that will be difficult given the size of the crowd and the ballroom, but you.
Are you telling me it's going to be hard to keep track of Django in this mess?
Absolutely. You can tell that even though this party has only just begun, it is, as I said, it's already getting pretty packed with people. There are a lot of appetizers and stuff that are being served out right now. You can see it's mostly kind of cold food and hot little hors d'oeuvres, as I said, cocktail weenies and the like. But there's also quite a bit of drinks flowing already, and very quickly everyone around you has already got one. As you make your way down the stairs, there are people there waiting with champagne glasses to serve you.
Ah, bubbly.
I will take one. Very, very. For once, Era seems extremely in her element.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, there will be a point where Django will kind of put his head down as he reaches for the champagne, and as he brings his head up and sips it, would any of you still near him would hear that his voice completely changes, his posture completely changes as he just looks and says, "Oh yes, thank you, my good sir. What a lovely event you're having." Turn to Lydia and say, "Would you care for some bubbly, darling?"
I would love some, thank you.
Is this the actor feat that you are using?
Yes.
Good to know. Very cool feat.
Yes, I'm using a much more posh voice that is just completely different from Django.
Yeah, so you make your way down, you grab your drinks, and there is a large crowd around you. You are free to do what you wish. What would you like to do? Sloop is going for cocktail wieners.
I just want to kind of, I want to find, not a super large group, but people that, I guess seem to have an air of a bit more higher society than the rest. Like, I'm trying to maybe find one of the, maybe a crowd where one of the members of the Aaron family might be, maybe. So just kind of listen in.
Make a perception or investigate. A perception check right now.
17.
Sorry.
Ira, you look around the room and kind of looking for an Aaron family member, and you realize like everyone is in masks and everyone is wearing high society formal attire. In fact, you knew that
my thought process behind this is that, you know, obviously this is a celebration celebrating, I believe it was the Aaron and the Nere family. So I'd imagine that there'd be a larger crowd around one of those people, as they are kind of the guests of the hour.
Yeah. So you make your way up towards kind of the far end of the ballroom, a little closer to where like the thrones, the pseudo thrones are at the end, and you can see there is a collection of people, in particularly a rather rotund fellow wearing the mask of a boar who seems to be commanding the attention of a group.
Kind of slip in. I don't want to make myself too obvious, but I'm listening. I'm maybe to this or that I'll laugh, or
Yeah, and he's telling stories about largely about his successful conquests, be them in trade through great deals that he's had, or through various hunts and the like. You can see that he's got this large cloak on him as well, that he kind of keeps being like, I hunted this one myself. It was a great time just over in the King's Glade, if you can imagine that. It's always good to get out and stretch the legs a little bit. And you can see that everyone around him is really kind of yes-manning him up a little bit.
All right. I'm just listening. I'm trying to not make it obvious that, but I'm very much listening, sipping my champagne, laughing when it's appropriate, just very much blending in.
Yeah. No, I think what you're doing is pretty natural right now. I won't make you force a performance check on me yet. But Lydia and Django, what are you two doing during this time?
I would like to be keeping an ear out for anybody talking about Pipper. See if the news has spread after we dropped the form off last night.
Yeah. Are you like inquiring with people, or are you just trying to do listening. Like a survey of the room? Okay, so make a perception for me.
Django will do similar.
Nice.
He's not thinking as much about Pipper as much as his mind is sort of latched to the Ratcliffes, or he's actually, no, I'll take that back. He's listening for anyone speaking about the priest, see if there's any news about the church or anything like that, to see if there's anything that may have come of that. And FYI, Django can read lips. With the observant feat.
Oh, nice. Great. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Are you two going together, or are you kind of splitting off and working the party separately?
I think we might start together and then maybe split off if we hear anything. Kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, you end up running into a man wearing a copper dragon scale cloak and a tan suit, wearing a very simplistic, like Phantom of the Opera style mask.
Nice.
And he is specifically talking about Pipper Aaron at this party. You can hear him say, well, it's been all the news. That press came out this morning, and we didn't even realize that he was gone for a while, but geez, we're looking into it now. We got men searching the streets, going high and low. Frankly, I'm a little surprised that they kept it on the hush-hush this long, but, well, you know how these families are. They never really want us poking into anybody's business if they can help it.
After hearing that, I will turn to Django and say, or just kind of incline my head just so I can lean a little closer and just say, looks like our whisper campaign has begun.
Good to know, darling. Do you wish to speak with them further?
Well, what do we want to know about them? About it specifically?
Django will kind of be keeping his eyes out, trying to act naturally as talking to Lydia.
I'll do the same.
Well, I suppose we're looking to see if there's any unrest amongst them, to see what they think. The disappearance, who is behind the disappearance? It's a noble one going away in this manner. Sure, there are some wild theories amongst this crowd.
All right. I will trust your silver tongue to do the talking.
If you wish. Okay, so then the two of us, we're going to head over to that conversation, right, Lydia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see this man. He has a very commanding presence about him. He is extremely upright and rigid in it. And it seems reflective of a very military style. His dress is clean cut. He looks a little out of place while he is wearing this tan suit. Kind of just wearing a simple suit to this fancy tuxedo party. is, you know, he's really dressed business casual to a formal affair, and he does stick out a little bit like a sore thumb.
Okay. So as Django and Lydia approach, Django would just sort of not impose himself into their circle, but sort of come to the edge of it and just say to the copper dragon cloaked men, I couldn't help but hear that you were talking about the dreadful news in the papers about Pip and Aaron. Truly.
Yeah. I mean, the word just got out about it today. I can't believe it happened, but, you know, at the same time, I can believe it happened. These families, they're always up to something, so.
Well, I remember recalling reading that there was something about a kidnapper interested in the families, in the nobles. Did you read the similar story?
Yeah, I mean, I've read the press release. We got it down at the office, but you know, I mean, anybody kidnapping, they're gonna go after, well, one of the three at least. There's plenty of targets to pick through from them, but I don't know. We haven't really seen a spur of this. If you're implying something.
Well, I suppose it does beg the question of conspiracy. You know, it's any sort of scandals amongst the families always brings up the imagination.
Well, the only thing these families have got nowadays are scandals, if you know what I mean. How about I should watch my mouth before one of them yells at me again.
Oh, well, they would never. And he'll give him kind of a wink, kind of implying a similar attitude of these families.
And he has a little chuckle, and he reaches out a hand to you and says, I'm glad to see a fellow of such good mind. Sergeant Cuthard, what's your name, son?
Sergeant Cuthard. The pleasure is all mine. I am William Blackwood.
William Blackwood. Well, can't say the family name rings a bell. You from around these parts, William?
Oh, I would say that me and my family, or my sister-in-law and her lovely sister, my wife here, we are visiting Adrithel specifically for the festivities.
Oh, fantastic. It's a pleasure to meet you, Sergeant Cuthard. He reaches out to you, Lydia.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Amelie Blackwood.
The festivities, I mean, this time of year, they really draw in, just about everybody. Between this and the parade, there's a little something for everyone there in the Festival of the Sea.
It's quite a gathering.
Yes, yeah, well, these families got some pull, but, I don't know, this is a nice event. It's a bit more high society, a little too high society for me, but what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, well, every now and then we must don our masks, as they were, to rub shoulders with the elites and others who think highly of themselves.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, geez, rather be up here with these hobnobbers than down on the docks with a bunch of damn dirty pirates.
That was certainly absolutely dreadful
That's
down there.
for sure.
Yeah,
Pirates.
nothing worse.
Oh yes,
Just a
caught a
bunch of
glimpse.
The families come close. The families come close.
Oh, certainly. Plenty of dreadful rumors about the families these days. Did you hear about the tragedy down at the docks? One of their warehouses was attacked.
Just awful.
Got some of my best men working on the case. We've got a few leads, looking into a couple that were nearby during the scene of the crime, but well, I mean, the investigation is ongoing, so we can't talk about it too much.
Certainly. Happy to know a man of such reasonable mind as yourself is in charge of that investigation.
Buttering up will get you everywhere, son.
Of course. It seems to be the default when you come to an affair like this.
Yeah, they love their butter. And he kind of turns and gets distracted by a plate of food going by, and you see him kind of veer off and chase towards that. Sloop, speaking of plates of food, you are hanging out over by a cocktail table. Are you just stuffing your face?
Yeah, he's just firing every bit of food that he can into his face, and like he like dips a cocktail wiener in a bunch of different sauces that are around, and just like shoves it in his mouth, and then he just keeps wiping his hands on the same part of his sleeve, and every time he does it, he's like,
Oh, shit, there's really no hiding it on this, is there? No, it's not good.
Do I see this by any chance?
Not where you are, because you're kind of much further down the end of the room, stuck in this pocket of people.
Okay.
Sloop, though, you definitely start getting the attention of a few people around you who are kind of giggling and looking at you oddly.
I look over, I'm kind of like,
Hey, they make some fine food at these things. Hey, what are you eating?
And this one woman comes over. She's dressed in this magnificent like queen bee mask. She's this shorter, rotunda woman, wearing a vibrant tabaxi fur coat that matches in a black and yellow with this mask. And she goes, I'm just eating about as much as I can here along with you. You are an adorable little fellow here, aren't you?
Yes, I have been told. But it sounds like you are a woman after my own heart. What is it
I'm
that
after
brings you
every
to-
man's heart.
Well, the quickest way is through the stomach, or straight through the middle of the chest. Actually, like just a little bit to this side, right over here, and you go just straight in. That's the best.
And you can see she leans back and lets out this like uproarious laughter as she fans herself and says, "Oh, you are just darling, aren't you? I must agree with you. There's, well, they're the two quickest ways, though there are others."
Oh, is that so?
Well, of course. And you can see her kind of like fan out to the crowd, and she points out a few people and says, "Well, all of my ladies are working the crowd tonight, so I'm sure they'll find quick ways to men's hearts and their purses."
Well, this is an interesting conversation, isn't it? After the purses, you say?
Of course. One must, well, make a living.
Of course, and a quick hand is much better than a quick mind, I think.
You seem like a very resourceful fellow.
I've been told. Again, you got me pinned, lady.
Well, I'll have to keep my eye on you.
Ha! You can try.
And she lets out another one of these shrill kind of laughs and wanders her way back into the crowd, looking back to you with like a naughty finger shake.
yeah, I do that back, and then very quickly just start stuffing my face again with everything I can find.
Yeah. So Era, you are hanging out in this noble circle. You've been listening to this man talk for some time, and you just find him absolutely abysmally boring. He seems very, very full of himself, prone to display of grandeur. But after a little bit of time, you are able to figure out that this is Gregory Nere, the house, the head of the household.
Oh, all right. I guess at the first lull in the conversation, where it's kind of getting slower, people are like refilling their cocktails, waiting for the next story. I want to approach very politely. Excuse me. You must be Mr. Nere.
Of course.
It's very.
What
very
gave
nice.
it away? And he just does
Oh,
a
I don't
big
know.
flourishy show.
Oh, I don't know how I ever could have mistaken you. I just wanted to say hello. Very, very happy to be here this evening to celebrate something so prosperous for the city.
Well, my pleasure. You know my name, but I don't know yours.
Ara Blackwood. It's very nice to meet you.
Blackwood. Where are you from? You must pardon me. There's so many people here, it's hard to keep track of them all.
I'm from a little bit of everywhere, really, but you may have heard the name from my husband, Davin Blackwood, the wizard. Very well known.
Make a persuasion check.
Persuasion. All right, well, let's see how that works, because I have one more nat 20 I can burn that I don't feel bad burning. Oh, my persuasion stat isn't good. Yep, burning it. Burning it! Because I'm not getting us in trouble now. We are too far into this.
Davin, oh yes, of course, Davin and I go back, well, ages, I dare say. Sorry I've never had a chance to meet you before. You know how it is, things are ever so busy here. How is the old man? Is he here tonight?
Oh, I suppose you didn't get the news. My husband, unfortunately, is no longer with us. He passed away several months ago. Freak disease.
I'm terribly sorry. That's rather unfortunate, but don't let that get you down. Tonight's a night of celebration.
He would have loved to be here, and that's why I came. He's with He's with us in spirit, after all, and after everything he did. Tell me, I just heard a very disturbing rumor, and I read something very troubling in the paper, and I was hoping that it wasn't true about Pippa Aaron. He really disappeared.
That's what they say in the paper, I guess.
That's awesome. That's awful. And you see, myself and my family, we arrived about a week ago, and then with what happened at the warehouse, that's horrifying.
Yes, a terrible attack. Terrible attack on the city. You must excuse me, Reginald. I haven't seen you in a dog's age. And you can see that he like hurriedly departs the conversation and turns his back to you.
I am going to wander off and try to find Lydia and Django.
Yeah, you would be able to. Django and Lydia, where are you?
Looking to Lydia, Django would just say, dance with me for a moment, darling, as we get a keener eye on our surroundings.
I thought you would never ask.
And before Era comes up, we'll start dancing on the dance floor, and Django's particularly trying to look above and around for just anything out of the ordinary, looking for if there are guards in certain areas, if there are other rooms that are accessible, just like scoping the place out really for something unusual or at least interesting.
Yep. Lydia, are you assisting him? I assume
Yes.
you're doing the tango team?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, make a perception check with advantage, Django.
Okay. 15.
15.
Okay.
You can see that there are guards posted around. They match very much the guards that were out in the front, but they've been a bit more formally cleaned up. There's not a lot of them. You did kind of notice quite a few outside, but inside it's just that like they are there's a couple kind of standing near the balcony. There's some in the hallway to the western side of the building. You can, from where you are dancing around in the center of the room, you can see down this hallway and see that it's quite a wide hallway with a number of different doors. I believe there are 3 on the left, 3 on the right, as well as an indented area on the right-hand side.
Okay.
What do you
Looks
see?
like, well, darling, it looks like there are less guards in here than there are outside.
That's good.
Keep your eyes sharp over towards that hallway. It seems like the only place not part of this main chamber. Several rooms and another hallway deeper in. Maybe not immediately, but after a few drinks, we may want to investigate that hallway. And then he'll dip her down. Back
and you are able to see that there are some people, like some guests, who are going into that hallway and immediately to the right, and then you do see a number of servants coming in and out of the first two doors on the left.
Servants coming out of the left side. Okay.
Further down the hallway, you can see like it's less busy down there, but you do spot there are some guards down there.
Okay, so guards further down the hallway, less busy. Yeah, cool. All right, that's what I think we'll do before Era comes up.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Era, you're walking about. You're having a bit of a hard time finding them until you look around and see them tearing up the dance floor.
Well, I'm a patient woman. I can wait for them to finish their dance. But as soon as they, I guess, we obviously see each other. I'm just going to, bring up a hand, we need to, come over here. We need to talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll say as once Django lifts Lydia from the tilt, they'll separate and bow to each other and head over, or he'll bow to her and then head over towards Era.
Yep, and she will curtsy and follow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no problem doing so.
Oh, dear sister, how are you enjoying the party?
Oh, it's frightfully boring as ever. But the man I was conversing with seems to be the head of the family, Mr. Noray.
Oh,
And he
found him quickly.
Well, find the largest group of people with the person talking the loudest, and you will often find them.
It is very true.
Not only is he insufferably boisterous and probably lying about half the stories he's telling, including
it wouldn't be a party if it wasn't.
Including knowing Devin Blackwood. That was interesting.
Oh,
I know for a fact that he does not.
really?
And,
That's juicy.
Anyways, I just listened and finally got the chance to speak to him, and he is oddly very dismissive about the tragedy that's befallen the Aaron family, considering this is supposed to be a party celebrating their working things out.
Ah,
I find
that is
that
interesting.
rather suspicious. Have you heard anything?
Well, we spoke briefly with a sergeant who has been in charge of investigating the events happening at the docks. Seems quite at odds with these families. Stands out quite a bit from the other high-class folk. Seems like he doesn't feel he belongs here. We also spotted some guards down that hallway. There are some servants coming out of the left rooms, but there is another hallway to the right that guests seem to be going to. So that there is more to explore for sure.
It seems that our whisper campaign has begun successfully about Pippa Aaron.
It's good. The more discourse we sow, the better. Did you see the sloop ran off to?
No.
At this time, Sloop, you can see that from the kitchen is starting to come out kind of the main courses. You guys have all been in the party for about an hour or so at this point, working your way through and the crowds. Sloop, you've mostly been working your way from appetizer tray to appetizer tray. But now the unmistakable aroma is wafting out as larger things like a roasted pig, barbecued ribs, roast chickens and the like are coming out and being set out and served in kind of around the edges so that people can make themselves small plates to eat.
Yeah, Sloop has like a whole shrimp ring in his hands. He's like halfway through eating a big shrimp and he's like, oh boy, better not fill up yet, and puts the second half back in and then like licks all his fingers and puts the shrimp tray back down and just like rubbing his hands starts making his way towards the main course.
Sloop is not abiding by social distancing rules.
Sloop is very touchy when it comes to food.
Yeah, surprisingly, it doesn't seem as if anybody has noticed your disgusting antics at this party as of yet. And, you are moving unrestricted through the crowd to the foods.
Can
Yeah,
any
just
of us
Excuse me, pardon me.
see? Can any of us see this going on from where we are?
I'm actually gonna say no because he's so small and you're in the middle of the dance floor right now. So and he's right on kind of the outskirts.
I think I'd like to actually make an active effort to look for Sloop. And
Yeah.
let Lydia and Django continue to tear up the dance floor.
Yeah.
If they would so wish.
I'm gonna force you to make a perception or investigation check though, to see if you can find him because he's so small and tricky in this party, and I know that everything else that I throw at him is gonna have a hard time finding him as well.
It's an 11.
You cannot find Sloop at this point.
Oh.
He's gotten off too.
I can't like ask the guest, have you seen a small one about this big? He's wearing a white tuxedo with a long mask. He's a family member. He's been separated.
They look at you and shrug, and they're like, "A lot of people here. Can't keep track of everybody."
Is there a waiter person? That butler dude, the cat?
There are. You do see servers. There are constantly kind of servers making their way in and out. You do see that all of the servers are wearing the same kind of uniform. And they're just wearing very, very basic, like classic masquerade masks with no frills or anything. They've got the rolled up black shirts, a small sash along them, but they stand out from the high society of everyone else at the party. So people know who the servers are in comparison to everyone else.
I guess as last resort, I'll flag one of them down because I'm sure one going between the table and there probably would be able to see.
You explained this small creature in way, and then the server is like, oh yeah. He's over there with about 3 shrimp rings on, and I think you see Sloop just like tearing off the leg of a cooked goose.
Yeah, Sloop is like at the edge of like I guess a roast beast of some kind, and he's like tearing at one of the legs, trying to get it off, like with his feet up on the table, trying to tear it off. And he like instinctively whips his tail up to use the hook to cut, but he has a little white glove over the hook.
Oh no.
Perfect.
Oh man.
So I guess as soon as I see that, I'm going to approach him. So, enjoying yourself?
Oh, very much. This is the best. Oh, they have all of the crazy food. I am honestly stuffed, but I just can't stop. Look at the size of this thing.
You've made yourself quite a mess, haven't you?
Oh yeah, sorry. I picked the white one to upset father.
Come with me for a second. I think your mother and father are going to need a little distraction to get somewhere.
Very well, mother, sister.
Aunt?
If you
Aunt! I said aunt, I knew it. I knew what it was.
I'm gonna bring Sloop, I guess, on the side of the dance floor and try to catch either one of Lydia or Django and give them a nod. Like, if you want to go there, you can.
Okay.
And I want to go towards the most. Well, actually, let's go up to the where Mr. Gregory Noray is, since that seems to be the biggest. And I'd assume Sloop's very soiled attire would probably catch some eyes.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a few looking glances, a couple of "well, I nevers."
As soon as we start getting those, I'm going to prestidigitation in a very showy way, like very obvious that I'm casting magic, not trying to hide it. Clean his clothes.
Performance check, please.
Okay. 5.
How far away is this?
I wouldn't think that just using a cantrip would mean it. Damn it. All right. We'll go with this.
Django, you can be kind of as close as far. You just guys had this little nodding moment, so
Okay.
Would have thought that cleaning clothes would be an interesting body trick, but I guess not.
You'd maybe be like a 30 feet away.
So Lydia and I we are sort of casually dancing, watching for
Watching for
whatever
them.
they have. All right, while that's happening, I would like to subtly cast Detect Magic.
Sure. You're trying to cast it without it's do you got verbal, somatic? I don't even know.
Verbal. It's verbal and somatic. So I mean, it's
okay.
Yeah.
If we want to like try and do some sort
I
of
want to
like dance
try
to like cover it up.
dance.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll work it
love
in.
it. Django, I'll let you make a sleight of hand check.
Okay.
To cover it up. Lydia, I will let you make a performance check that if you succeed, you'll give him advantage on.
Okay.
Do better than me.
Era, on the side, as you are trying to make this show, you kind of do it in a thing and end with a bit of a flourish, and it seems as if nobody is paying attention, except you just hear this one woman just like giggling and laughing at you. And as you turn, you see like a tall, slender woman in a similar, like a simple white dress, but wearing a unicorn mask and with big, colorful rainbow frills that go down the back.
Excuse me, are you discriminating against magic?
Not at all. It's just, Jesus, that's not much of a trick.
Oh, would you really like to see a trick?
I mean, that's pretty basic.
All right, that's so. What am I gonna do here? I'm not going to fireball the party.
I'll show you a trick.
20-foot radius of a fireball. No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh my god.
I will cast Find Familiar and bring my once cat as a ferret.
Okay. Yeah, Django, as you guys are dancing in the middle, you are able to slyly work your somatic components into this dance move, into this. It's a bit clumsy, Lydia. You're having a hard time figuring out who is leading this dance, but nevertheless, nobody seems to notice as your detect magic goes off.
Okay.
Era, your ferret, assumably all white again, ferret comes up and comes in. And again, this woman just kind of like giggles and it's like, oh yeah, I'm fine, familiar. Yeah, no, it's yeah.
Tell me, what
did
school
you
did
pick
you?
up a ritual book or something? You know.
You're talking to the wife of
Find that
one
on
of the best
an
wizards of.
antique shop.
You're talking to the wife of one of the best wizards of our time.
Oh, that's. I'm sorry. I just guess I would have thought something better. Clearly,
Well, I'm
the
sorry I
husband's
don't want
traits
to.
didn't wear off too much.
I'm sorry that I don't want to fireball this entire party right now.
Well, that would be a laugh, but yeah, I think it would maybe ruin some people's time.
I'm pretty sure your very presence is ruining people's time, dear.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, all right, the
Well,
glass.
Era has met her sass match. Oh my god.
Yeah, you can kind of see
you
her
want
like
to-
straight.
Do you want to show a trick? If you're so magically inclined, why don't you show something?
Oh my darling, I would.
Oh,
I
did you
suppose I
forget your
could,
focus?
Light up a few things or two. And you can see she reaches a hand up, and you see a number of lights just start scintillating up within the chandeliers, and casting a kind of disco ball, rainbowed disco ball effect.
I don't suppose
around
there's
it.
going to be a way I can subtly counterspell this.
Oh, there's absolutely a way you can blatantly counterspell this. If you're a sorcerer and you have subtle cast, you could do it for
No,
sure.
I will cast counterspell as she does this.
So she does it. You see the lights go up and then sizzle out as they absorb into like a rune you draw in the air. She says, well, that's just cheating. I mean, if you're not even going to give me the chance.
Well, you should have thought better of that, dear. You know, an experienced wizard is ready for anything.
Yes, that's true. I mean, I certainly didn't expect to see someone like you here tonight. Normally these parties are, well, a little less talented. And that's saying something.
I suppose that's why you're here right now.
Please. I'm an honored guest, frankly. And I'm arguably one of the best scholars here.
And what is your name?
I'm Elmingwood Aaron.
And she reaches out a very limp handshake.
I completely ignore it. Oh, so you're one of the Aarons. Blackwood. It's nice to meet you.
Pleasure. I don't recognize the family name. They must be more of a minor house.
We're not a house here, actually. We're from across the seas. You may have heard of my husband, Tavern Blackwood, and if I need to make a deception check, I'm burning my last natural 20 for it.
She cocks her head and says, no, must not be that important.
You may not have heard of one of the finest enchanters to come from my country. That is quite sad that your education system doesn't seem to be up with the times of the rest of the world. What a pity.
My lovely, I'm very well acquainted with every one of our race who is worth knowing about.
Your race.
And you can tell that she is also a Galliquine.
Tell me, it's not normal for our kind to study magic.
No, you're right, it's not, but it does come in handy around these parts sometimes.
Oh, it most certainly does. So, you are one of the Aarons? Well, I have to ask, because I'm always up for a little gossip. Sure that you are very distressed of what happened in the last few days. Are there any leads?
Make an intimidation check.
Gladly. It's gonna fail, but I'll do it anyway. Intimidation.
All right.
Oh, she doesn't need the next
Oh, yes.
She brings her own.
Yes.
You can see the blood rush to her face. She becomes very noticeably agitated right away, and it's just like, well, word spreads fast, I see, but it is a private family matter, thank you. And she turns on a dime and starts walking away into the crowd.
I call after her. You know, a family matter does not stay a family matter when civilians are in harm's way. Just some food for thought, dear. I'm going to take Sloop.
Yeah. She you see her disappear into the crowd and shoot you see her kind of like go to look back and then be like, no, I'm not looking back, like I'm not giving her the satisfaction of it.
Era just looks extremely smug.
And is just like, that was awesome, and then like does a little like fist bump. Or wait, you're on this side.
She actually returns it.
I think on that saucy one-up, this seems like a good point to unfortunately call it here for the night, as we leave the rest of the masquerade to be unraveled in our next episode. So I'm gonna do a few thank yous, but well, actually first I'm going to pass it around to the players and let them introduce themselves. Chat, thank you for coming to hang out with us. This has been a real fun time. I'm really excited to see where this little masquerade ball goes. So without further ado, enough of my quick little rambling on. Let's pass it over to Django, being played by Sean. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where the wonderful viewers can find you else on the internet.
Absolutely. Thank you everyone for watching. You can find me on pretty much any social media platform at Odo_Sean, ODO_SEAN. I am the Dungeon Master for Paradise RPG. I do not dress as ostentatiously on that show. That might have to change after this.
Yeah. For sure.
But you can find us over at Paradise RPG, PARADICE, like a dice, RPG, no space. We stream every Monday, our main show, Advantage in Paradise, where we are in the midst of a political intrigue campaign, and there's going to be a big, like a real war battle in our next session. So check it out. Should be fun to join in, even if you haven't watched before. And we have a lot of fun there, and we're having a great time here.
Great. I'll pass it over to the other Paradise member, Lydia, being played by Shannon.
Yeah, thanks for a great game, and thanks everybody for watching. I'm Shannon. You can find me on everything at sroby25. As Sean said, we have shows. We've got more that are in the works, and our merch shop went live a few weeks ago, and I just got emails today saying that my stuff shipped. So I'm really excited, and I can't wait to show those off on stream. So you can check out. We've got shirts for all of our characters and our new logo at teespring.com/store/ParadiceRPG. Thanks for having us.
Excellent. Let's drop it on over to the other side where we have Era being played by Shelby.
I just want to say thank you for everybody who gifted me the nat 20s, the heal, all of that, because I would not have been able to get through that without you. So thank you for that. I'm Shelby. I'm from the channel Wystle While You Work, where I talk about my antics in D&D and draw whatever fantasy fun things come to mind. You can find me on YouTube at Wystle While You Work, spelled Wystle. You can find me on Twitter at WhistleWis and on Instagram at Wystle While You Work. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And last but not least, Sloop Rhinescale, played by Mike.
Thank you everybody for hanging out all night. This has been awesome. I'm Mike Friday. I'm the DM for Wonders and Blunders. We're like a cute horror comedy D&D podcast. You can find us at wonderandblunder.com. I do wear a mask during every episode, but it is it's a podcast, so you can't see it. You can find and you can find us at Twitter at Wonder and Blunder. Come check us out. We're currently doing like a side mission in one of the big magic cities. It's kind of like a noir style side mission, so come check out those episodes. That'd be great. And thanks again for everybody, and thanks Kieran for running this, and Role4Damage for having us. This is the best.
Which is my job now to thank Role4Damage and everything. My name is Kieran, also known as Agent Number 1. I am part of the Role4Damage crew along with the Wonders and Blunders crew. I just, of course, want to thank our producers, Vegemite Dangerous and Nova One, for putting together this incredible show and giving us the chance to goof around and do all this stupid, ridiculous stuff. I'm having a load of fun with this campaign. So there are a few people I want to thank on behalf of the channel. First and foremostly is Brepai, our artist. You can see the amazing Sloop Rhinescale down below. She does all of our character art for the channel and is just an absolute gem. Check out her links down below. They're really, really great. Secondly is our partner channel, Western Australian partner channel called Nerds of the West. They do board games and the like on Twitch. They have an active YouTube channel where they've played through tons of different board games. So if you're interested in learning about different games or getting their take on it, they're a really great group. We steal some players from them, they steal some players from us. They're wonderful. And of course, Wonders and Blunders, the podcast that I am part of that Mike DMs, is super fun. We've been going for over a year. We've got loads of episodes. I do sound editing on it and stuff too, and I love it. And I think that's it. That's probably it. This has been a really, really fun session. I've enjoyed getting you guys to the Masquerade Ball. It's taken me a little longer than I intended. I thought like the beginning of last episode we would get there. But I've got you there now, like flies in my spider web. So I'm really excited
Oh,
for who you're meeting and what you're gonna do, because I still have no clue, and this is just one of these things that I'm just like, well,
Hey, what a coincidence!
who
Neither do we.
who knows what they're gonna do in here.
We'll find out when we get there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So I'm very, very excited for next week. I was also excited for last week. I'm excited every week. As we do at the end of every episode, we like to pass on a little raid. So without further ado, I'm gonna pass us over to our producer, the man behind the curtain, sitting in chat, Vegemite Dangerous.
Hello. That was purely wonderful. We had a poll going during that scene there to see how many cocktail wieners Sloop could fit into his mouth. It was 20. So I'm sure he could do more. But
Yeah.
I thought it was just fantastic. Yes, I'd like to give a big thank you to everybody in chat, all the new followers, all the biddies, all the subs that we've had coming through. We had Prime subs, we had normal subs, we've had a whole bunch of Nat 20s thrown at error. Just insane. You are using that
Thank you
system,
for them.
not abusing that system. But yes, we are finishing up the stream, so I will chuck across some love. Generally, we do this to another community member, or we do this to somebody within the D&D space. And I have found someone that I think is really fitting this evening. It's a gentleman called Hoop, who is in the second episode of a D&D campaign. But the name of the campaign, which I thought was so incredibly fitting, is Blunderwood. Like one of Blunders. Yeah.
Love it.
I love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
So let's chuck a raid over them. Show them all the love you can. Post up your favorite raid emotes, or if you're a subscriber here, you've got your R4D raid emote. And tell them about this game, tell them about your game, ask them about their game, and share the love. And we'll catch you guys next week for another episode of The Ruffians. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Good night.